Yeah, we can stay on. I'm not going through OBS, so I can stay on here. We can do this. I can just show weather computer here. So um, I'm gonna be getting my show ready. You can see me here the whole time. So are we leading with weather?
No, 2 deaths. I didn't know whether.
That's fine. You can do that. That's fine. That's fine.
2 deaths a minute.
Oh man.
Which one?
The one guy gets squished.
Awful.
Sorry.
I always hate that. I mean, I hate when anybody there's an accident like that gets killed, but it always gets me when somebody that was just out there trying to do their job.
Oh, yeah.
All I was doing was trying to put food on the table.
Team.
Live, local, now. This is News Channel 6 at 5 p.m.
Good evening, Tech Film Line with Lisa Officer. Thank you for joining us. One man is dead following an accident of the construction.
Gonna have to hold on for just a second.
We're learning more about this afternoon. 53-year-old construction worker and Vernon resident David Temple was working on foot when a fellow worker operating a dozer unknowingly ran him over. According to Albany police, the incident was a complete accident and no one is being charged at the moment. Albany Police Chief Dan Burbick says it's a very sad moment.
Over Albany, the new hospital is a proud accomplishment, and it's just kind of sad that, it started off with an accident of this magnitude, but the company had said that they've been in business for over 2 decades and they didn't agree with that so much as it's running anyone on the job.
At this time, there have been no comments made. And we have an update on the shooting at the Love gas station on Central Freeway around 10:30 last Friday night. Police responded to gunshots at that 24-hour gas station. When they got there, one male victim was found with multiple gunshot wounds. We're being transported to United Regional. Police say now that the man's injuries are not life-threatening. He is no longer being treated at the hospital. Police say the investigation, however, is ongoing. They urge anyone with information to call Crime Stoppers at 940-322-9888. Remember, you never believe your name.
Here's your first alert forecast on News Channel 6.
All right, strong thunderstorms moving into Wichita Falls. This is from the water park here. Looking back to the west, northwest, this is what we call a shelf cloud here. This is going to be rain-cooled air produced by this thunderstorm back off to the west here a bit. That rain-cooled air is heavy, it's dense, so it falls down out of the sky here, creates what we call shelf cloud. There's some low-hanging clouds along it, and as this little cloud feature moves on through, expect the winds to change directions from the south-southwest to become more westerly, and they're going to be blowing up pretty gusty here, and after that moves through, downpours will follow it. There's that thunderstorm, and right now some downpours from Burnett. Looks like the heaviest rain is beginning to wind up there, wind down a bit in Iowa Park, right into the western part of Wichita Falls. Pretty big hailstones showing up here just to the north of Holiday here a bit, right there along the Wichita River. So maybe some golf ball size hail up there. And as it moves eastward into at least the southwestern part of Wichita Falls here, there could be some hail of that in addition to the downpours. Now, as far as the winds, the good news is the winds are kind of stretched out. They're blowing all in one direction here. Oh, at times there's been a little bit of a spin down towards Holiday, but nothing torn out. We'll watch this and see what it does as it moves off of these. Heavy downpours, Iowa Park, northward into Burnett as well. It's some gusty winds with this here. The line of storms extends through Comanche County down through Lawton, back towards Chattanooga. Other thunderstorms developing over into Jefferson and Stevens County, lifting up towards the north here, and another big storm down towards Throckmorton. So we'll be tracking these storms in your forecast, plus more storms throughout the rest of the week coming up.
Thank you, Ken. Wichita Falls City Council met this morning. The collective bargaining agreement for Wichita Falls firefighters with the base rate pay for those firefighters, as well as
Sorry about that, guys.
and their
I know that there's a lot going on here, but I'm trying to do Facebook Live and be able to do the news at the same time. So
The best way for us to provide for our citizens is to keep the transfer of our here. It makes us safer, it makes citizens safer. Fiscally, it's responsible. We're not investing money in watching people leave. We're getting good, well-trained applicants, and the city's better off for that.
He goes on to say that this has been a long-awaited process, further stating that his first union meeting back in the year 2000, collective bargaining was still. Well, the countdown is underway as the 10th annual Graham Food Truck Championship will be happening this weekend. Shunny, you went to downtown Graham this afternoon, where it will soon be packed full of food, live music, and the new surprises that the event goers get to enjoy.
That's right, Alyssa. During my pit stop at Graham, I was told that it was promising to be one of the biggest events this year. The Graham Downtown Square will be hosting over 50 food trucks, bringing all kinds of dishes and desserts to those who attend. I spoke with the Visit Graham Executive Director, Mr. Zach Bolch, who said that they have made a few changes to the Downtown Square's infrastructure to accommodate for the addition of food trucks this year. In addition to this change, nationally recognized photography will be featured to satisfy art lovers' hunger.
This year's event has our art walk, our children's activities.
yes, I'm gonna take him probably during main weather too. I'll probably take him during main weather. Yeah, I'll take Cameron during main weather.
He goes on to say that as the previous years have been successful, they will gauge the success of the event by the hotel booking and, of course, the smiles and happy reactions of those who attend. Coming up at 6, we'll hear from Zach once more as he speaks on the strategies Visit Graham will use to make next year even better, and a few things to keep in mind as you make your way to Graham this week. Shunty Hooks, News Channel 6.
Thank you, Shunny. Looking forward to that. Well, professional golf tournament teed off today, shining a light on the city of Duncan in Oklahoma. The Territory Golf Classic, presented by DRH, is now in its 3rd year at the beautiful Country Club in Stevens County. Today's round was a mix of professionals and amateurs. We got a chance to speak with Gary Toronto.
All right, so we got reports of some broken power poles on the west side of Burt Burnett. That would be from those strong winds that were in that thunderstorm. KSWO reporting a little rotation over Lawton. And what you're looking at right now on our tower cam there, that's going to be that low-hanging scud cloud. It's a very scary looking cloud, I know that, but it's mostly just strong winds blowing out from it. I'm not seeing a lot in the way of rotation with it, so I'm keeping a close eye on it. Remember, there's not a lot of low-level wind shear in the atmosphere to produce tornadoes here, but I'm keeping an eye. That looks like mostly a shelf cloud. All right, there's that scary-looking cloud moving through Wichita Falls now and down towards Holiday in those areas. Strong gusty winds along and behind that, followed by heavy downpours and some hail threats moving into Wichita Falls. Pretty stormy here this evening. We'll be tracking these storms coming up in your forecast in just a few minutes. I will. I'll take it out. I've just been busy. I'm trying to multitask here and do everything at one time. So, yeah. Let's see here. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm trying to get. I know. I'm not saying a whole lot, but I'm trying to do the news and do Facebook Live at the same time, and it's just, as you can imagine, it's just not super easy to do that. So. Looks like some pretty good hail about to come into the west side of Wichita Falls here. Okay, I'll be ready. I'll be ready.
Cameron wants you taking a round stop or whatever.
Okay.
30.
Must see something.
You must. I'm trying to. Give me a second. I'm trying to right now. There we go. Boom, it's down. All right.
15. Stand by again.
Hey, don't wrap him. Just let him go.
Here's your first alert forecast on News Channel 6.
We got stormy weather moving into Wichita Falls right now. We got weatherman Cam in the tracker. Let's go straight to him. Cameron, you're out there and all this stuff. Where are you at? What you seeing, buddy?
All right, so yeah, we are going to holiday right now. We're about to cut off the beach. We did see a walk out earlier. There are four on this right now. Can't this storm. We're just on a holiday. The winds are not a joke of this one. Probably going 16, 17, if not stronger. So very, very, very strong winds.
60 to 70,
We got the dogs are falling power lines in the road. So that's something to keep in mind.
Hey, can I take this while the storm's moving through during the newscast? Just take this while the storm's moving through? All right.
So you ordered it.
It's not a tornado warning, but it's just pretty bad weather moving through. I think we should probably, unless you think we just need to do something. It's up to you. Okay.
Pretty sure we're just coming down the storm right now. We're going to get back to the beach. Look for Lakeside City. It did have a wall cloud. I read a wall cloud pretty broke down. Nothing overly expensive looking. It was scary because it's pretty scary cloud. But did not report the night, so they don't think it was scary much either. So we're keeping an eye on that. Get back in position on that. But the big short this one, the winds are not a joke.
Yeah, I believe it, Cameron. Matter of fact, this is a live look from our Wichita Falls tower cam. And this tower cam is located out in the water park. And you're looking back to the west there, and you can see the low-hanging clouds. You know, this storm is really blowing up here, and these are the low-hanging winds. This is the what we call a shelf cloud. This is that rain-cooled air that's falling down out of the storm. Rain-cooled air is heavy, it's dense, and it falls down out of it. It creates a scary-looking cloud, but as that colder air falls out of the cloud, it reaches down towards the ground, hits the ground, and it spreads out here. So with this is going to come some strong gusty winds. You're going to see the winds change direction quickly here, and you're going to get some heavy rain coming in right behind it, and there could be some hail as well. Let me take a look here at the radar. This is that thunderstorm. Now, I'm getting kind of a little more concerned about the hail threats now. I absolutely hate hail, folks, especially after what we had back in April here. But it looks like we got hail, decent-sized hail at that. Could be about to move into southwestern Wichita Falls here. Now, the atmosphere is not as prime for the gigantic hail like we've seen over the last several months here. It looks like the largest hailstones with this probably mostly would be probably some dime, nickel, maybe quarter, perhaps up to golf ball size. But that is moving into southwest Wichita Falls, and that's enough to create some damage. So if you have damage still from the last hailstorm, you're probably going to get some of this here. So as you can see that moving eastward. But the heavy rain extends from Burkburnett. There's some down power lines, snap power poles up here with strong winds. And if you're a camera said these storms are producing some big winds here, folks. Right along 44, heavy rain, strong wind gusts now moving over the city. I got the strong wind gust here at the station. You can hear the rain just pounding us. And then this storm extends down towards Holiday here as well. So if you zoom in, there's your hail core. When you're looking at hail in the thunderstorm, this is what we call reflectivity. And the radar, actually, what you see on radar here is actually a result of volume. It's called dBZs. And any of you that are familiar with music, audio knows what dBZ stands for. So whenever it hits an object, it pings it, it makes a noise. The louder, the larger the object,
the louder the noise, and it starts painting these colors. So where you start seeing this magenta, and especially these kind of silverish blue colors on our radar scale, that indicates some pretty decent sized hailstones here. And that's about to move, or it's probably moving right over the western side of Kell Boulevard now, and then going to move right along 287, and then kind of over the whole western side of Wichita Falls here. So I'm talking about out towards Memorial Stadium, along the Kell Freeway here, kind of over there towards Kell West Hospital. And then that's going to kind of extend eastward and going to be moving right over like the Taft area, along and just north of Southwest Parkway. Basically, anywhere in Wichita Falls can see this hail as it moves over, especially just north of the Archer and Wichita County border. There's the latest update. You can see this now spreading right along Seymour Highway here. Of course, the station is up here. I hope my truck doesn't get dense. But this hail is going to move right along Seymour Highway. We got the Tanglewood and Canyon Trail subdivision located right back over into this area here. And that hail could be about to move over you shortly. In addition to that, there's a lot of lightning with this storm. That's the underrated severe weather aspect. It basically gets looked over a lot because it's not one of the criteria that has to be met for a severe thunderstorm. But this thing is putting out a lot of lightning and a lot of cloud to ground lightning. Now, if we look at the winds, the good news is, look at how this is stretched out. You don't see it kind of concentrated in one area here. Let's go back over to Cam. Weatherman Cam, I'll tell you what, the wind is really howling here at the station now. Looks like you got some pretty ominous looking clouds there.
Yeah, we are, there are some ominous clouds. I believe that this, actually what would be is really, I do think that given the wind, giving some wind on the side, we already potential that. I feel like we're not really in a position to sign the eyes on that long cloud, so we're looking out for it. I want to put it in sense that we're reading eyes on it. So I got years of wind. I think it's a great chance this one. Well, I would
All right, and for those of you that are watching us on social media, I just encourage you to watch us on News Channel 6 and also over on the website there, because I mean that's where we're doing the coverage at. I do got a stream up on Facebook Live as well here though, but you're looking at the winds in the storm. And I'm keeping an eye on that, making sure that it's not doing it. So we got a lot of reports from viewers here. 258 was strong today. Everybody reporting just some crazy winds. It looks like I got hail here at the station now. Highway 369 Kell, very high winds and hail. Power lines down on 369 in Kell. So if you hear them at the newsroom in there, it sounds like we get some damage around the city. Probably got a lot of power outages. We're probably about to get some. Unfortunately, we might get some damage from hail here too. So yeah, a lot of power lines down. 369 in Kell, heavy rain and Holiday with some hail mixing in, shaking here real bad. Can't tell me what to do. So if you are watching, this is strong straight line wind. This is not tornadic activity here. So if you're wondering if you should get in your storm shelter, I mean that's fine. You can get in your storm shelter if you want to, but this is not a tornado, or at least right now. I don't see winds that are circulating. I don't see spin. With the thunderstorm that's moving through here, the lower atmosphere. The winds are all blowing out from the thunderstorm, which is definitely good news. When you don't have a lot of the low-level spins in the atmosphere, that's what you get with these things. A lot of times they produce hail, and then they produce what we call cool thunderstorm outflow. But that outflow is no joke, folks. It is producing some big wind gusts in excess of 60 and 70 miles per hour here. And again, that hail is moving over the Seymour Highway, crossing right through the western and southern parts of basically anywhere over Wichita Falls, especially the southern parts of the city here, getting this hail. Most of it appears to be small here at the station, but some of it can still get to be decent size. Now, down towards Lake Wichita, a bit of a peak here in the thunderstorm. There might be a little bit of inflow into that. That probably is where your updraft is here, because there's your hail, and your hail core appears to be collapsing some. So it may be the hail size is maybe coming down a bit. Oh, boy, that wind is getting with it out there, folks. That's some strong winds. And I don't be surprised when this thing moves over if you don't lose power here. In addition to that, it's raining real heavily. You might see some flooding. So the heavy rain is continuing now from just south of near Burnett all the way down. All of Wichita Falls is indicated by this thunderstorm. And again, the weather is awful here. And this is moving out east over into Clay County.
And this is impacting the forward flank of this thunderstorm that's moving through Dean and Jolly, headed right at Henrietta. Henrietta, you'll be next in line, as well as Charlie and Petrolia. Expect heavy winds in excess of 60 miles per hour, heavy downpours, and there also might be some hail in this as well. So that Lakeside City, you're getting in on the wind and the heavy downpours now too. There may be some small hail there. But the good news is it looks like the thunderstorm top might be collapsing a little bit. So maybe some of the hail sides are coming down with this, but one thing you have to watch out for, when the thunderstorm top collapses, a lot of times the drop is low there, and that's where you wind up getting a lot of your bigger hail as you begin to see the UV levels come down and storm a bit here. So I'm going to walk back over to the radar here, and again, boy, it is coming down heavily here at the station, and if we take a look here, it's also coming down heavily on our tower cam. From here in Wichita Falls, you can see this just crazy wind, heavy rainfall pushing through at this time here. It's really, really coming down, folks, really coming down hard here. Remember, we do got reports of power outages. We got reports of damaging winds here, power lines down. We've had reports of hail. I don't know how big the hail has been. It looks like most of the hail has been fairly small in size so far from what I can tell, but the radar certainly looked like it was producing some decent-sized hailstones a minute ago. And I do hear some pings here at the station from time to time. Now, Burt Burnett, you had some damaging winds earlier. The strongest of the storms have now shifted east of you, but you are seeing at least one more little downpour moving in on the backside of that. And you got this little line up here in southern Oklahoma that will be dropping to the south. Basically, anywhere along that line, you've got severe thunderstorm warnings now, basically from east of Lawton all the way down to the northern side of Wichita County here. And these are producing some strong wind gusts. Down toward Archer City, there's not a lot yet, but there's some storms now developing just west of you, and they could have some hail production. And you got a pretty good supercell down here to the south of Throckmorton. That appears to be kind of drifting kind of east-southeast. Now, I want to also show you this, and this is up into Oklahoma, and this would be kind of on the south side of Norman. Some tornado warnings up this way. This pink polygon you see here, that represents a confirmed tornado. Most of what you see here with this is going to be weak spin ups today. You don't have a lot of the strong low level wind shear that creates what you call storm helicities, storm relative helicities. It's basically a horizontal spin in the atmosphere. And whenever you got strong low level wind shear, that creates large areas of strong spins and strong, horizontal spins in the atmosphere and gives birth to these stronger tornadoes. But what we see here today would basically be brief. You see some of that towards Pauls Valley. I know I got somebody on Facebook that messages me all the time about that. But into Pauls Valley, there's a little bit of rotation. And again, if it's producing a tornado, it would be a brief one up that way at most. But we go back down into Archer County here, and you got the strong winds that are coming through Wichita Falls now, pushing over into the western parts of Clay County. So Clay County, if you're over into Dean, Jolly, expect 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts there. And this could also be headed, it may go just south of Petrolia, maybe just north of Henrietta, but that's still a little ways out. We still got time to watch it. Down into Holiday, the worst of the winds are now past you. Looks like the strongest wind gusts pushing through Lakeside City now. And if there is any rotation in that thunderstorm, it would be right there to the kind of south of Holiday, southwest of Lakeside City, and northwest of Scotland. And that would be kind of moving off to the east-southeast. There's not a lot of way to make the storm spin down low, but there is a little bit of rotation showing up there, rural areas. Let me go over to Weatherman Cam. Weatherman Cam, I do see most of what I see on radar this afternoon, this evening here is the straight line winds, but there appears to be maybe a little bit of a circulation on maybe the southern side of that, maybe kind of southeast of Holiday. Do you see that? Thank you.
That's okay. Nothing to really see visually at this time right now. We've seen a lot of scary clouds. We've seen a lot of good info on the road across the area. We've seen a lot of rolling in wispy clouds and warming the air point directly into storms. So these ones are suggesting some pretty good air. And I see these storms. The wind direction is going directly into the storm itself. So simply happy looking summer comes out of Florida there and such. But then we get to the north part of the summer, you see winds that come out north, which says, Michigan, California, down there. Waves coming out north, you help check that. Rotation there, but yeah, so we're keeping on that rotation out there. We're going to go towards eventually once it's about 2 or 3 minutes. And we go a little further south and then keep position off of that area. We go to the
All right, thanks a lot. I would have never have thought. I mean, the other day, yesterday, we were looking at this, and you can see that there was a little bit of a small hook in the what we call photographs. And you look at low-level wind shear for tornadoes, and some of our weather, especially the NAM computer model, indicated that there would be some of that up there, Oklahoma City and kind of along I-35, kind of in those areas here. But and you can see tornado warnings. A lot of meteorologists, including myself, kind of just kind of thought that was what we call an outlier, was kind of a bad computer model run, but that wound up being pretty accurate because, I mean, look at these tornado warnings here along I-35. Those are supercells. But again, what you see here would be brief spin-ups. They would not be the major. I wouldn't think these would be major tornadoes. They would be mostly brief spin-ups here. And you kind of see that there. Now, these are mostly east of us here. There might be a little bit of spin there near Loco and the Velma area. But if it did produce a warning, probably it'd be just east of us, closer to I-35. Now, again, here in Wichita Falls, heavy rain moving through the city now. It remains very heavy downpours. Heavy rain now inundated Lakeside City. And you do got some hail that's going to be moving into Lakeside City here shortly. And over Southwest Parkway, you got some hail showing up there too. Most of it's small. But we do got report. This is listen to all the reports I've got as far as so we do got a measurement taken as these storms push through Wichita Falls, where the winds were blowing at about estimated about 75 miles per hour at Memorial Stadium as they push through. That is a Category 1 hurricane force strength winds is what that was. So that's the kind of winds we're dealing with in these thunderstorm here. And now the worst of the winds have now shifted southeast of Wichita Falls, but the heavy rain continues. Looks like we got about 2,000 people, right around 2,000 people here in the city without power as a result of this thunderstorm that's just coming through and producing all this wind. If we take a look at the velocities in the storm, I still see some really strong winds over here in Clay County. If you kind of notice in this little radar scan here, you got a little bit of almost a brown tint right in that area. Well, this indicates really strong wind gust, and this would indicate wind gusts in excess of 60, probably close to 70 miles per hour there. And again, that's going to be on the leading edge of this thunderstorm, this powerful thunderstorm that's moving through. Now, I almost see what looks like some pretty strong winds also on the backside of this storm here. That would be it's not uncommon to see that on the backside. Sometimes you'll get some of these divergent signatures, and you can get some strong winds, but that may be aloft. So we'll see what happens. We'll see if there's strong winds. I think that's going to be a lot of that's going to be suspended above the Earth's surface. Now you jump down into Archer County here, and you do see strong winds, but there might be some very, very weak little spin in there where these winds interact with the atmosphere down here in Archer County. So we go from Lakeside City. This is going to be north of Archer City. There's 281 Scotland. Here's Lake Arrowhead. Of course, this will be Wichita Falls up here. So as these storms move, remember you got winds blowing in one direction with the thunderstorms. They're moving almost due west. But out ahead of it, you get this. You have a bit of a south wind out ahead of it. So as you get that sudden twist or sudden change in wind direction, sometimes you can get a little spin. You might see a gust of tornadoes this actually. It certainly is possible here, but you see little dents down here, a little bit of a dent. There may be some inflow flowing into the updraft of the thunderstorm here. And inflow is just basically just a warm, moist air. It's the energy feeding into the thunderstorm. It's flowing into the thunderstorm. But from what I can tell by the clouds I'm seeing, this is going to be a big shelf cloud, which shelf clouds indicate cool air blowing down out of the thunderstorm here. But it is, again, it's no joke. It is coming down hard with the rain, and it is coming down heavy with these strong wind gusts here. I'm going to go back up to Weatherman Camp. Weatherman Camp has that shelf cloud. Well, that's a wicked looking shelf cloud there.
This is a shelf cloud that's really, really active behind it. And we're getting ourselves in the right position here. I'm not sure why that is again, but I feel really bad when we saw it. I was on these inside for the south area. Not say one south, but we're not inside. I think it's one of these waves. Once it shut off, that's what we're seeing on top of us. So we're watching that. In terms of, structure, I see a really messy shell cloud. And based on what I saw, when it was on that actually moving this small wall there, I do believe that's going to be 70, 80 mile per hour speed. I never in my life, I was so good for 3 years. I never had to God promise how the way to get that thing. It was really so bad. So that's another one I would just basically have a big really looking shot. I've never seen a shot like that. I can say that big punch, a lot of wind behind it, so we're going to need some element, and that's the way it's doing.
All right, thanks a lot there. So we got a new tornado warning that just came out for Stevens County here. Let's take a look at what's going on up there. They don't have the warning. This is a severe thunderstorm. I was reading the weather service, and I thought they said tornado warning, but it looks like it's severe thunderstorm warning, which, judging on the radar screen I see there, it should be tornado Stevens County. It's at 5:20. So I guess they just went severe thunderstorm warning. So that's good, because I don't really see any significant rotation up there anyway with that part of the storm there. So. But these storms are moving through, and they are they are producing some really strong wind gusts there. You can see the almost like a double barrel area of strong winds. One into Clay County. That is a strong wind signature there, moving into Dean and Charlie now, just north of Jolly, and this is going to move right at Petrolia and probably track just north of Henrietta. That is a hurricane force wind pushing through there, and these winds are going to exceed 70 miles per hour. We got widespread power outages now in Wichita Falls. We've got widespread reports of some damage, like power lines are down, and we got power poles snapped. And that kind of stuff is headed into the Jolly area and going to kind of go towards just south of Petrolia, moving into Dean now. And I still see the rain is still coming down sideways there on our tower cam. Cameron, I see you're stopped. Have you got something else for us there on your end? I guess he doesn't. All right. Well, we'll keep an eye on that. I'm actually going to put you on my side monitor here so I can see, because you can see there's our tower cams there on the left, and then there's Weatherman Can's feed right there. And we can easily go to that if we need to here. So we'll keep an eye on that there for you. But as of right now, though, again, your main threat with this is going to remain these strong wind gusts that are pushing on through. That's our biggest threat. And not only, but these wind gusts. I mean, a lot of times people focus on tornadoes and whatnot, but these wind gusts, to me, that they're actually affecting more people than a tornado would. I mean, this is like a EF1 tornado or EF0, EF1. It's what it's kind of like. So we don't want to forget about our friends up north here into Stevens County, moving through Duncan, heavy rainfall with this strong line of thunderstorm, strong wind gusts here. And we continue to watch these dangerous winds pushing across Clay County, Petrolia, Charlie, Henrietta, those areas. Very strong winds. And now you're also seeing some decent-sized hailstones perhaps showing up towards Lakeside City. And if you are over the eastern side of the lake there, it is probably some pretty decent-sized hailstones down. And I'm going to see if we got any reports there about what's going on here. I'm trying to find out what we got going on there over Lakeside City here at this time. But again, just pouring down rain here at the station. Now the back edge of the initial thunderstorm is kind of pushing east. You can see where it's bowing out over there into Clay County. But more storms have formed on the back side of this here. So, I mean, it's going to be some more downpours pushing through. And since we've had so much rain this spring, there could be some flooding with that. But you can see the reflectivity really has perked up. And my wife is reporting pea-size hail in Lakeside City right now. So Lakeside City, even though the decibel levels have come up, it looks like, most of it's pea-size, but it could be a little bit larger, kind of south and east of Lakeside City, closer to 281. kind of down Highway 79, kind of south of the Greenbrier Walmart there, and kind of over into northeastern Clay County. So, that's what we see there. And of course, we got to keep an eye on these winds. These winds, they've got new storms developing down towards Archer City at this time too, downpours, and we'll see if those things start to perk up. But these are some nasty storms blowing through the area right now. Hail, high winds, those are our main concerns with this at this time. It looks like to me that maybe some of the winds have weakened a little bit over there in Clay County. So Charlie, Petrolia, those areas, the winds may not be quite as strong as they were. And then we'll watch these strong winds as they make their way down through Archer County. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue my weather coverage over on the app and on our website. And also on Facebook Live. We're going to jump off of News Channel 6, and we'll be back on if anything changes. We'll also be back on with the news at 6 o'clock. So let's do that for now, okay? And we'll remember Facebook Live and over on the website. Yeah, I decided it was probably time to jump off of News Channel 6 for a few minutes there. So, hey, tell Jeff to go OBS. Tell Jeff to go OBS with the internet, Facebook Live. Oh yeah, just go Facebook Live. I'm on Facebook Live, and I'm gonna change the way I'm doing it. I'm doing it through Restream Studio right now. I'm gonna change it though, how we're doing it, so we can. It just makes it easier. All right, so give me a second here while I do a few little things here. The good news is it looks like the worst of the weather is out of Wichita Falls now. That's what it looks like to me anyway. Yeah, stay on over there too. Yeah, that'd be good. So we are. I'm sorry. I know that I'm just doing some work here to try to get some stuff done to just make it a little easier on myself here. So give me just a second while I maneuver through this. But if you're up, the worst of the weather is through Wichita Falls now. But if you're down in like Archer County and Clay County, that's where it's at right now. So, all right, I got to find my password. So give me a second. So nickel size hail in Lakeside City. Let me see here. Okay, they're signing in for me now, so that's good. All right. That works good then. All right. Well, so the strongest of the winds now, kind of, moving into the Petrolia area now. It looks like these winds that are over into Clay County are blowing kind of in the 50 to 60 mile per hour. Oh, Cameron's in the middle of all this. Cameron, it looks like you've got a lot of strong, gusty winds where you're at right now.
Winds right now, we are focused on right to cap those winds, and we kind of came all at once. Guys, kind of processing the good. They said that's what I was doing like on that thing, and then I know it's kind of wall of wind hit the side of the tractor, and now it's kind of riding us out right now. The wind's probably getting maybe 60, if not 70 miles per hour at times, and you're got a little SUV, and the winds are starting to rock this thing back and forth. So pretty strong winds here. We're on 281 right now. About a couple miles southeast of Lakeside City. We go too far towards the south area, but we're getting blocked on the wind and the rain right now. No reports of hail at this time. With the rain in, these are blinding conditions, and these winds are really good right now, man. What would you say? That the wind gust speeds are? Have you looked at it on our anemometer there by chance? No, I think based off my observation, I think obviously we guys have to be. I'd say maybe as high as 70 miles per hour in time of these gusts at times. Because when it gusts, it is not a joke. I mean, these gusts come too fast, they come too hard. You think it's still going to start to come down, and that's not up here. How big is the hail that's falling over you right now? The hail itself looks like it's pretty small. It doesn't sound very big right now. I can't see it visually, like you can track. Maybe it's size hail this time right now. We got the hail sort of passing over at the time now. just kind of help put the position where we're at. We got on 281 with the hail forecasting directly overhead right now, just to give you an idea of where we're at.
Yeah, my wife told me nickel size hail a short while ago there in Lakeside City. So that's what we're kind of seeing down there. That was, I think the hail core though may be through there at the time, Cameron. So where are you at again right now?
We're on 281. 281 this time is pointing south this current time. Kind of intersection. I don't know how that is. I apologize. A highway that goes along Lakeside City, and then you go take that highway down south at 281. We're only about 2 miles south of the intersection at this time.
So you're on highway. So you're on highway. Can you do any way you can zoom the camera in to see it?
Yeah, should be maybe turn the camera here and then point at the ground and see if you can zoom on the ping pong or the hail hits ground right now.
Okay, yeah, we're looking at that here, and it's kind of hard to see because there's a lot of rain on the on our camera there, so it's kind of hard to see, you know, what may be there. I still see a lot. Yeah, there you can probably see it better there now if there is any. Of course, ping pong size. Yeah, you can see some bouncing off there, but a lot of what you see is probably just some raindrops and some water pushing up there. And maybe, again, maybe some periodic bouts of hail. Now, a lot of this is actually moving down into kind of down into Archer County. Pretty strong wind gusts. So it looks like Cameron's along Highway 79 probably. It looks like some pretty strong wind gusts right along 281. It looks like you almost may have like a little mezzo low in there, a little area of low pressure. And oftentimes these storms can do that, especially when you have these updrafts and you wind up seeing some really strong wind gusts. But you do have a bit of a supercell structure with that. I wouldn't say it's an intense supercell, but there is a little bit of a supercell structure in there. And we have had some periodic little spins in it, but it just looks like to me that most of what you're seeing here is going to be what we call outflow dominant stuff. So Cameron, would you say that what we're seeing is mostly outflow dominant stuff at this time? So, I mean, if you were to go south down into Archer County, though, would you say that all of that's on the leading edge of that outflow boundary, and all of that's going to be a shelf cloud, correct? So if you were to go on like 287, now excuse me, if you were to continue on 281, you drop down into Archer County more, and you kind of got south of it, would it be just a big shelf cloud, or would there be a would there be, you think, maybe some indents where there'd be a wall cloud maybe?
I believe you probably see a shelf cloud this stuff. We saw the shelf or wall cloud much earlier right before the newscast, but ever since I've seen nothing but shelf cloud-like structures. So I do believe if you go further south, Archer County, we're going to see shelf clouds out there.
All right. Well, that's good. All right. Well, you guys can hang out there for a little bit longer. You can come back, whatever you want to do. It's up to you. You can head on there into Clay County, or you can even head over towards Montague and the Bowie area if you wanted to. So I know you like to chase over in that part of the area here. So, but that's up to Weatherman Cam if he wants to go over there. Weatherman Cam always does a good job chasing, but he's really a trooper, and he gets out there and he gets with it. So, but anyway, we're back on the radar here. And I'm give me just a second. I'm trying to get us to where I can get it's another program that we run that allows me to do Facebook Lives a lot easier. So, but my computer's running just a little bit behind. So you have to give me just a minute to get that pulled up. And then I can have some larger screens up for you so you can see. But this was certainly we've had a lot of active weather this year. In terms of like heavy rain and wind and hail, we haven't had a lot of what I would consider upper end severe weather, which would be like tornadic stuff, and usually most, to be honest about it, at least down here in Northwest Texas, most years, when we do get active severe weather, a lot of times this is what it is here. Okay. We get these types of severe weather events where you get heavy rain, wind, and some hail and that kind of stuff. Fortunately, a lot of times the type of spin in the atmosphere that you need to get tornadoes, a lot of times it's up there in Oklahoma. So, All right, let's go back to Cameron. Weatherman Cam, what you got, buddy?
Yeah, so we just got to put this on 281 and all that modifier decision. You got down power lines on the road right now. You got power lines, probably like to stretching into the middle of 31 at this time. So very substantial winds came through here. I see you got one on the extreme, you got one behind us, as well. We have one over the road on the head of us right now. So this thing's not over power line. That's just a clean broke it off the head itself. So that's the latest storm report.
Golly,
Off
what
the
wind would you
pole. So that's
and
the
it looks
storm report from my end right now.
traffic stop there too. What kind of wind would it take to blow that down? A power line has got traffic stop there too. What kind of wind would it take to blow that down?
Oh gosh, I mean, you probably need 80, maybe 90-mile-per-hour wind gusts to knock these power
That is
lines over
absolutely
the way.
crazy
These things are
there.
clean off their poles right now.
The way that that is, man, that's
crazy.
crazy for sure.
The way that
how those
the way that is,
you know,
man,
how that's
crazy.
all playing out,
sure.
man. That's crazy.
We're also getting
how
some bigger
those,
hailstones.
Those strong wind gusts.
You know how that's all playing
boy.
out, man.
But we got a lot of that, and the wind's still blowing pretty
Those
hard
strong
out
wind
there.
gusts.
I mean, it's still
So we got a lot of
coming
that,
down
and the wind's
pretty
still
hard.
blowing pretty hard out there. I mean, it's still coming
What are you
down
doing? I
pretty
thought you
hard.
didn't got shocked or something there, Cameron. Don't do anything. Don't do anything that's going to be that's going to
I
do
thought
that's
you
going to scare
didn't got
me like
shocked
that
or
now.
something there, Cameron. Don't do anything. Don't do anything that's going to be that's going to scare me like that now.
Ken, I don't know if you are seeing this. This is wicked stuff. These winds are probably hitting 80 miles per hour again. This is absolutely insane. Got golf ball size hail mixing. This stuff is absolutely wicked. I mean, this is probably, oh my, I mean, we're getting pelted with hail right now, and these winds just absolutely
That's almost like being in a
a
hurricane, isn't it?
Right now, Ken.
It's almost like being in a hurricane, isn't it?
This is very, very, very comparable to being in a hurricane, because when those winds come, I mean, it is like a wall of wind hitting you. And again, we didn't move much. We're still just sitting on 281 this time. And I mean, these winds, they're probably hitting 80 miles per hour at times. So, wow.
Wow, that's crazy. I know on Facebook Live, I know I was overlapping. I had to cut off one of my sources here so you could hear me. I just changed. I was telling you I was changing up how I was doing some things, so that's exactly what you were seeing. So that's Cameron. And Cameron, you're down in Archer County. You're on Highway 79, kind of just south of Lakeside City. Is that correct?
That would be correct. I'm on Highway 81, kind of just south of Lakeside City. If we're going to draw it up here on the map, I'm about 2 or 3 miles south of the intersection from, I believe that's Highway 79, where Highway 79 intersects with 281. I believe we're about 3 miles south of the intersection. So we're not far from Lakeside City. And I mean, oh my goodness. I mean, these power lines can have traffic a huge mess right now. People are just trying to get their way through, and it's kind of a free fall out here on the highway right now. So folks, if you are planning to travel on 281, take your time. This looks like a total free fall out here. This does not look like a safe condition to be driving in right now. Oh my goodness. These people are doing a complete free fall right now.
Not safe at all, Cameron. I mean, you can't hardly see out there with that wind and rain blowing, and there's power lines down there in the road, and that's a busy highway. So, I mean,
Now you can. All right, sorry guys. I'm trying to fix this, so give me just a second. Give me just a second. I know y'all are concerned about the weather and what all's going on, but give me a second. I'm trying to fix some issues here, so give me just a second. All right, so now we should be fixed. So let me fix this overlap here too of the audio. It should give me a second. This should start rolling here any second now. I don't know. I don't guess that's going to work. I don't know what's going on. I don't know why it's not working, but give me just a second here. I know you can't see me. Give me a second. I have some issues with one of my programs here. You can see me here in a second, but for some reason it's just not this. I don't know what's going on, folks. Why this isn't working. Oh, that's why it's not working. I see. Of course. All right, give me a second. I had to sign into some stuff here. Now we should be able to roll with this, I would think. All right. Let me see now if everything works. I do apologize for this, folks. I do apologize. I think I got it fixed now. I think I do anyway, but we'll have to just kind of see. I think I do anyway, but we'll have to kind of see. All right, now, I think we're back running now. Hopefully we're good to go. I think we're good now. So to kind of reiterate, yeah, there's a lot of, and this is one of the, I told Cameron a while back, I was like, some of our biggest severe weather days here come on days it just doesn't look like it's going to be that big. And look at these supercells. Every single one of them are spinning. And I'll be honest, folks, there's not a tremendous amount of low-level shear in the atmosphere over here, but these are supercells, and every one of them have tornado warnings along them. And the Storm Prediction Center, which I don't base my forecast off of the Storm Prediction Center. Not that they don't do a bad job. I think they do a good job, but I like to do my own thing. I like to give you my own spin on things. And today they had 2% tornado outlook for this area. 2%. That is a very low. It's not zero, but that's a very low number. And there have been I think what happened was there's actually a little what we call meso low that developed here, and I think that's what happened and caused all of this. That caused all that activity. It's caused the low level wind shear to increase a bit up there. Now back up here in Wichita Falls, we got some downpours. There's actually a new little area of thunderstorms on the north side of that that's producing some heavy rainfall right over the city. And I believe, let me enhance the radar here, but I believe we got an outflow boundary coming in from the north too, because I can see a bit of a low cloud there on our tower cam. I can pull that up and you can kind of see that. And that's going to be that low cloud you see there is going to be kind of the outflow boundary, I think, coming through from storms earlier in the day. And maybe you could even, I guess you could even argue and say it's the front itself. But that's what you're seeing there from that vantage point. And then there's Cameron. Cameron, looks like you're making your way slowly along to it. Looks like you're turning around now, right?
No, we're not turning around. What we're doing is we're going a little further south towards the Scotland area, and we had to make our way through 281. It's been a slow go. We're cleared the extent of the damage that we were dealing with. Probably went for about maybe 1 or 2 football, probably 2 or 3 football field lengths, I'd say, where we just had 281 littered with power poles. Still no one out here really directing traffic at this time, and we actually just passed a stop sign. The stop sign was completely blown over as well. The top, like the sign itself, was barely hanging on. So just to give you an idea, then the top halves of the power poles those are completely pulled off the wood, and then you had some that are just completely snapped in half. Then some of them are, of course, that did hold on are currently leaning over at this time. So one strong wind and gust is going to take the rest of those power lines down. So pretty rough driving on 281. I did not see any signs of law enforcement or anything like that that's going to direct traffic at this time. I think there needs to be someone, because again, it's a bit of a free for all, because with the way the power poles are littered throughout the street, there's live wires on the road. You got people trying to get through, and it's no one directing traffic. It's kind of a free for all. So again, if you're planning to go on 281 for some reason, don't. It's not worth it right now. The conditions in the road are not good. It is blinding rain conditions with very strong winds. And then again, those power poles in the road are a big time nightmare. If you do see power poles near you, do not get near them. Don't even get out of your vehicle, because there's likely live wires. Think about it, water does conduct electricity. You step in a puddle next to that wire, could be in some serious trouble. So we're dropping south towards Scotland area. It's a bit of a slow go right now, just with the way the conditions are on the road. We're not seeing any more debris at this time, but we're going to get towards Scotland, try to work our way into Clay County from there, probably up towards the Henrietta area, and try to stay with the bulk of the storms as well, because it kind of keeps looks like the strongest portions of the winds continue to drop off to the south of this storm. So that's what we're watching, and then we'll keep you updated.
Thanks a lot, Cam. So about people asking about what's going on behind it. If you can look here, there's a low-hanging cloud moving through Wichita Falls now. I believe that's going to be the front or an outflow, big outflow boundary that was produced by storms up in Oklahoma. And you can see the leading edge of this this little cloud line right there. Well, it's not wanting to. Let me see if I can get it to draw here. Hold on. But it's right in the, well, shoot. But anyway, you can see it on the edge, and you can see heavy rain behind it. So that is just a downpour and some gusty winds is what that basically is. All right, go back to Cameron. Cameron, you got some heavy rain there. Hold on a second. Cameron, you've got some really heavy rain there, buddy.
Yeah, heavy rain. But the interesting thing I wanted you to note, Ken, is again, we're going down 281, going southbound right now. For the most of the time, the past 10 or so minutes, the winds are coming out of the due west, the outflow part of the storm. However, as we're getting further south, we're seeing the winds do a bit of a shift in the wind direction. So now we're now seeing winds come directly out of the due east at this time, flowing into the storm right now. So that's something to watch at this time. Could maybe be some air flowing into the storm this time as we're getting further south. So that's a trend for me to watch out here.
Okay, we're about to go into the newscast here in just a moment. So a lot of bad weather, and again, as you can see right there, where Cameron is, and he's down there in Archer County, and it is just some terrible, terrible weather down in that area. We can kind of go over to the back into the radar here, and there's Wichita Falls, and again, heavy rain moving back over the city again with some hail. How long have we got till the show? All right, so I'm about to jump off here on Facebook Live and the app, because we're about to do the newscast, but we'll have more weather coming up on News Channel 6. Well, I mean, I'll probably stay with Facebook Live, but I'm going to jump off the app, and we're going to the news right now, so you can get all the latest there.
Okay, they're changing it. They're choosing mics. Ken's getting mic 4. Sorry.
Oh, you're good, man. Ooh, my check 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2. I am hot. I tell you what, I got to jump out of this this suit jacket. I'm burning up. Okay. Oh, I feel it now. It feels good. Well, we've had a lot of wind, man. We got our butt kicked this afternoon with all this wind. All right, so we're in the newscast now. So I'll keep this on here, because I know we got just bad weather moving through everybody. Okay.
Come on.
15.
I'll be over there in a second.
Stand by.
Live, local, now. This is News Channel 6 at 6 p.m.
We lead tonight with the latest on the storms that continue to move through the area.
We go straight to our chief meteorologist, Ken Johnson. Ken, what's going on out there?
Well, it's been a horrible last couple hours here, last hour or so here in Wichita Falls. Lots of damaging winds that pushed through a lot of power outages. We've got snapped telephone poles, we've got snapped power lines, snapped trees, and it continues. We have a new little storm that's developed from the north side of this big cluster of thunderstorms. Now, I do believe that the worst of the weather is now southeast of Wichita Falls as far as winds go. We still have some downpours and maybe some little small hail building over, and with all the heavy rain we've had, could be some flooding here too. The worst of the storms now are over to Clay County, heavy rain building into Henrietta. We're looking at some nasty weather over on Lake Arrowhead. We have also a new thunderstorm, have a new updraft just northeast of Archer City here too, and kind of out towards Lake Kickapoo. We have warnings here. There's also warnings up in Jefferson and Stevens County. Let's go to Weatherman Cam at the tracker right now. Cameron, you've seen a lot of wind out there. Looks like you're trying to get back south of the storms again.
Yeah, we're just chatting here in the tracker. I got Cecil with me. We were chatting. I said, I didn't think getting all that eventful, and it's pretty eventful. Seeing a lot of storm bands. We've been on 41 a little bit after we got stopped. We're just about 2 miles south of this. We do a warning in 1954. That area was littered with downpour poles, completely snapped off their bases, snapped it off. Whatever it might be, very a lot of downpour lines on that area. So that's a factor to keep in mind. We actually early on when we were going out west towards our area when the storm was initially coming across the falls. So power poles snapped directly in front of us. I've never seen before these winds. After being in 80, if not 90 miles an hour time, so the big gravity is going to be the wind. Not only is it windy, we've seen about the golf ball size hail at times. And not only is it that, we have blinding conditions, heavy rain, and those winds hit the 90 basis with general blinding conditions. So if you're traveling to any area where these storms are, not a great day to be traveling right now, or a great time, I should say. But what we're doing now, we're not past this spot. We're going towards the wind force area. We're keeping an eye on that area. Archer City, and these storms, they have they've been pretty reputable with put down some big time wind and some hail. So we're keeping an eye out to see if any more storm damage does pop up, and that's the latest on 281.
All right, thanks a lot, Cam. And there's a couple areas of interest we're watching. And keep in mind, most of what we're seeing are these shell clouds here, but I see a little rotation, weak rotation here within the storm now, coming up on the west shores of Lake Arrowhead. And there's also what looks like some of the more significant rotation, at least in our area, that I've seen today down here towards Archer City, or just barely a hair east of there. No tornado warnings here yet, but we'll keep an eye on this. Most of what we're seeing with these storms are outflow dominant winds blowing out from the thunderstorm, rain cooled air blowing out. But this part of the thunderstorm down here, it's pretty interesting here. So if you're just east of Archer City, or maybe over there towards maybe Windthorst or Scotland, keep an eye on this part of the storm. It's got some decent rotation on it. I still think the main concern here is heavy rain and strong wind gusts and hail, but we'll have to keep an eye and see if any of these things try to spin. If it does, it probably won't be anything major, but a little spin up can't be totally ruled out here early in the season here. Now, I'm watching these storms again. We have other storms up in Oklahoma too. We'll get all of that in the forecast here this week.
And the National Weather Service informed it is warning the public about a weather radio outage starting today on November.
Yeah, you got a little rotation there near Archer City for sure.
The Weather Service says the public should have other resources available for those updates, including, of course, our First Alert Weather team, our Facebook page.
Give me a second here. I'm going to look at the weather service here.
One man is dead following an accident at the construction site at the new Albany Hamilton Hospital.
53-year-old construction worker and Vernon resident David Tickle was working on foot when a fellow worker operating a dozer unknowingly ran him over. According to the Albany police, the incident was a complete accident and no one is being charged at the moment. Albany Police Chief Dan Burbeck says that this is a very sad moment for the town.
Yesterday, an accident occurred. There were a lot of people concerned. Seeing a lot of messages saying, prayers to the family and to the victim, to the operator. So everybody's kind of outpouring support, even though.
As you can see a new updraft there near Archer City. You can see the hook on it there. Here in which, I mean, it's just, we just see this back building of rain. We got flooding in Lakeside City again.
Moving on to more about Friday night shooting at the Love's traffic stop in Wichita Falls. Police were called to the gas station on Central Freeway at about 10:45 for a gunshot victim. Officers say when they arrived, they found the man who was shot multiple times. Tonight, they are sharing those injuries are not life-threatening. He is no longer being treated at the hospital. The investigation, however, is still ongoing, so they're urging anyone with information to give crime centers a call.
We have an update for you on a robbery suspect wanted by the Archer County Sheriff's Office. His name has been released. It's Anton Jamal Hernandez. He's wanted in connection with an early morning robbery from yesterday. The county says that it has reason to believe that he may be hiding in the Wichita Falls area. He is believed to be unarmed, but the county says do not approach him. Instead, if you have information, call the sheriff right away. The number on your screen. At its regular meeting, Wichita Falls City Council and city firefighters continued talks focused on keeping trained firefighters right here in Wichita Falls. And we told you before about their collective bargaining agreement, which set base pay for firefighters plus pay increases and a promotion system. The interim city manager says that implementing this is a big step in the right direction.
Individuals that enjoy their job and like their job are better able to serve their community, want to serve their community, they feel that they are being invested in and cared about. And that was my goal, to show them that we care about them, that we want them here, we want the best firefighters in the state, and that agreement is one step towards that.
The president of the Wichita Falls Professional Firefighters Association explains just a little bit more about what this CBA means for firefighters.
Provide us with a set labor agreement with the city of Wichita Falls. It defines everything about us, our working conditions, safety requirements, wages, the whole 9 yards. It is an all-encompassing document that provides us a positive path for the future.
He adds that this has been in the works for almost 2 decades and will lead to more attention for firefighters like in Wichita Falls.
The clock is ticking down until Graham's 10th annual Food Truck Championship this weekend. Sunday folks was in Graham where the downtown square will soon be packed full, of course, of music, lots of food, and a few surprises, Sunday.
That's right. The staff at Visit Graham is excited to host the 10th annual Food Truck Championship, and it's the town's biggest year yet. I spoke with Executive Director Zach Bolch, who said that they have made a few changes to the Graham downtown square to accommodate to those new surprises event goers get to see at this year's event.
This is our 10th year, and it's our biggest year. This year we have over 50 food trucks, so it's our largest by a handful of trucks.
The community is busy here and one of Graham's most anticipated events of the year. The largest downtown square in America will be overtaken, bringing all kinds of dishes and desserts to those attending. Staff and tourism officers are excited for the changes made to make this the biggest year yet.
This year's event has our art walk, our children's activities, live music throughout the day. One notable difference this year over other years is that the old post office museum and art center is open with their exhibit by Rob Kendrick, a National Geographic photographer.
He goes on to say that the staff is looking at the previous year's success, so there are a few ways to celebrate the Visit Graham team are measuring this year's.
We hope to see all our hotel rooms full. That is the first measure of success for our event. Are people coming? Are they here? I think the other measure of success for us is just seeing smiling faces and people eating food.
As the event continues year by year, thanks to local businesses and the event sponsors, Volk says that the opportunities are unfathomable.
It's hard to imagine getting bigger year to year, but somehow we managed to do it. Even though our space isn't actually getting any bigger, we are finding new, clever, creative ways to utilize the space that we do have. This is, after all, the largest downtown square in America.
Now, for those looking to attend this year, there are a few things you need to be mindful of. When it comes to parking, be prepared to park on the city streets and walk to the square. Also, they are not allowing outside alcohol.
Looks like hard to say if that's a shelf cloud or a wall cloud there. But this is down towards Archer County. It's down towards just east of Archer City.
Story Golf Classic presented by DRH is now in its third year at the beautiful country club. in
I see
St.
spin.
Today's round is a mix of professionals and amateurs. We got a chance to speak with Austin Peters, the general manager of the country club, who says that he hopes to continue growing this event.
Well, we've grown every year since coming, so hopefully it just stays on that path. And we can keep getting some great pros out here, bringing kind of that awareness of the.
That is it's a beastly looking cloud, but it looks to me like it's spinning now. But it's real difficult to tell.
The all-pro portion of the tournament begins tomorrow, with the winner being crowned on Saturday after the final round.
Some big news tonight. We're back.
And then Outflow Boundary's about to catch it too, so that could make it spin a little bit for a minute before it undercuts it. But that is a folks, that is a scary looking shelf cloud there. I know y'all can see that. So the worst of the weather is now away from Lake Kickapoo, I think. Let me see. Yeah, the aerial rotation is just about to come up on 281. I still think it's a big, large shelf cloud in there, but you've got some mid-level spin in there too. As far as Lake Kickapoo goes, you're kind of on the back side. It's kind of a new little back build up draft in that area. Here, I got to save some stuff in my show, so give me a second here.
Tonight, we hear from a family involved in a lawsuit against the detention center where their son died in custody. Their attorney, the heartbreak, and their next steps are after the break.
And there's a live look down in Archer County down there, just to the west of Windthorst. Big, scary looking cloud down that way. A lot of wind, a lot of rain down there developing, hail, flooding, and a little bit of rotation too. We'll talk about these and check in with Weatherman Cam coming up. There's a couple areas of rotation in there, actually. That outflow boundary is just about to catch it. What that outflow boundary is going to do is it's going to undercut it, the updraft, so it'll kill any surface-based rotation that it may have. But it could help it spin for a minute as it does catch it. All right, I'll be ready. Be ready. But again, there's your. This is looking kind of south. This is Castaway Cove Water Park, and you're seeing the thunderstorm. This is the northern thunderstorm there. This over the southern side of the city here. That's not severe, but it is putting down some pretty good rain. I bet we're getting some flooding. Check in with the weather service one more time before I go on air here. All right, let's go do the weather.
Well, that's a wicked looking cloud. It looks like that thing is lower to the ground too.
Derek, it looked like he's doing a curve.
Yeah, I think that's it's a big, what we call shelf cloud down there.
Okay. $15. Second shot.
That's Cameron's shot. And that thing is spinning.
My bad. Stand by.
Here's your first alert forecast on News Channel 6.
All right, let's get straight to weatherman Cam now. Tracker, he's got a picture, a video of a wicked cloud that is spinning down in Archer County. Cameron, that is a wicked looking cloud there.
Oh, again, this thing is definitely wicked looking. We're looking just to the east right now. We're seeing a tree one about half miles north of Windhorse off 281. You know, we're watching this thing. This thing's weird, is the best way to put it, okay? There's a lot of parallel motions with this. So you can see clouds rising into the storm at this time. And really quite the distance, there's a bit of this organized wall cloud. And the weird thing about this is you have the cloud, if you look at input going into what might be potentially a wall cloud, and then on the back side, you have clouds playing a parallel direction to it as well. So it's a very weird motion. I don't know if it's maybe you're trying to get things kind of like wrap around RFD or something. It's really hard to explain or get a grasp on what this storm is doing. It's the way all these motions, there's just multiple motions in the storm right now. Nothing too overly defined when it comes to wall cloud. I do believe you have a wall cloud, that little dip on the screen there. I do believe that's a bit of a disappointing wall cloud, but I mean, it's just so many rising motions in this storm that it's, got help to it. I just don't know what the type of help it's going to be.
I think you got an outflow boundary that's catching up to it now. I think that's what you're seeing, the spin on the front side of it. You're seeing an outflow boundary coming on the back side of it here. I think you got spin. I think that's what you got. I think you got a wall cloud right there, right in front of you there, Cameron. That's what it looks like to me anyway.
Yeah, okay, now you say that does look like the clouds are flowing that kind of throwing out, the ones that are coming up the north. So that might be what is the outflow boundary there. Of course, they have the wall cloud, you have some pretty rapid inflow going into that right now. Does not how it look like it's spinning much at this time, but what's going to be interesting to watch is to see how this outflow boundary interacts, because what can happen is this can either undercut it or it can help this thing spin further. So we're going to watch it for this outflow boundary is moving very quick. So if it's going to help it spin, it's only the amount of time before it does that. So we're going to have to keep a close eye on this wall cloud, and you can really see some really good rising motion going into that. First round watchers, we're sitting on 281, just half a mile north of Windhorse. We're pretty decent spot, just keep an eye on this thing, but that's the issue 281, and we'll keep a close eye on this wall cloud.
All right, it's really cool cloud features out there today. Let's go back over here to the radar there. So our look from Wichita Falls. There's been a storm on the northern side of the big thunderstorm complex. It's just to the south of Wichita Falls here, and it's been producing some heavy rain. But as the storms push through between about 5 and 5:30, they produce some big winds. Power lines just snapped, telephone poles snapped into, trees snapped into, a lot of people without power. It has just been an absolute horrible storm that pushed on through here. Thankfully, no tornadoes, though, mostly just some strong winds. By the way, you got your the tower cam feed right in there, so if anything develops, we can see it firsthand here on the radar. So we got severe thunderstorm warnings from Stevens County down into Jefferson County, and then you kind of jump. You jump south of Red River, and your strongest storms are in Archer and parts of Clay County here. And if we zoom in a little closer to that, we got heavy rain over Lake Arrowhead. It looks like the worst of the weather is going to pass south of Henrietta. There's some downpours pushing through Petrolia, and this is going to eventually make its way over here into Monte County shortly. But the strongest storm on radar that I see is down here in pretty much right where the main camp is here. You've got a couple of, there's your outflow boundary. You can see it there moving through Archer City. It's catching up with these storms now. Let's go back to Cameron here. Got a lot of motion in that cloud there, Cameron. Is that, wow, that's got a lot of motion going on. What's going on? Is that outflow or what is that, Cameron?
Yeah, there is a ton of motion going on to this storm. It's almost the point where there's just so many moving parts just from this time. I might have been over this place to walk. I looked like to be on the backside because we were looking further to the backside. It didn't have that beamer tail where you look at that tilt and walk out. And the backside is going to have a tilt. However, it does not have that anymore. So I wonder if it's a situation where this outflow boundary is not helping it. But you've got really rapid movement with this storm. It's just going to, if it's going to be a beneficial rapid movement, or if it's going to strengthen, or if it's going to be a movement that's going to hurt it and have a limited trail catch that's already in place. So just have to keep watching it close time and saying, well, I'm sure you want to. This is the storm you're watching Archer County right now. Archer City, Windhorse, so it's crazy. Keep a close eye on this storm right now.
Cameron, it looks like a big blocky wall cloud right there in the center. Again, I'm not out there, so it's hard to say. Is that what I'm seeing there, big blocky wall cloud, or is that just going to be, you know, a outflow? What is that?
I think that's outflow. I think when you stand up there, I think that's your outflow you're seeing. It's very hard to see the camera on the backside. You kind of camera just a little to the backside because it looks like there is, it keeps kind of circling the backside of the storm where there might be a little broken wall cloud this time. So it's not super organized this time. There's just so many moving parts. Just you gotta keep doing a scan. Just want to see what's going to try to wrap up. If it's going to wrap up at all. But I mean, a lot of moving parts. I do see potentially a wall cloud that is on increase right now. So we want to disappoint with that awful value this time. So if it's going to wrap up, it should do a sim. If not, if it's going to hurt, it's also going to have a sim. So just got to keep a close eye on this one.
All right, let's go back to the radar here. So, but you can see there's your rotation right there. You got green, strong winds. These are winds blowing into the radar there, towards the radar, which is up in Frederick, Oklahoma. There's your reds. That's outflow winds blowing kind of away from the radar. I don't think we lost a scan there. But anyway, that's where you have your rotation. It's right there near wind doors. Right, you can see it right here on the screen. That's exactly where Weatherman Cam is at this time in the tracker. You've also got some strong winds and probably a little bit of a swirl over here on the east side of Lake Arrowhead too. And this is moving light up Blue Grove, and it's going to pass south of Henrietta. So strong winds moving through central and southern Clay County shortly. We got a couple of areas of spin here just east of Lake Arrowhead, and another one coming right up on Windthorst. If you look back, there's your wall cloud, your outflow boundary. And as this pushes through, outflow boundary is what we call, it's basically cool air produced by thunderstorms earlier in the day up in Oklahoma. As it drops south and these thunderstorms interact with it, it can cause the wind motions to change directions, and it can cause them to begin to spin up a little bit. So I'm watching to see if that happens. You do see a little bit of a spin right there on the northeast side of Archer City there. And again, your stronger rotations coming right up on Windthorst. A real good view of it there. Let's go back over to Cameron's tracker feed there. Real good view of that storm. From that vantage point, just a lot of movement parts, a lot of moving parts in that storm with that shelf and our wall cloud there. All right, back over to the radar, and we'll be watching these areas as they move east over into Clay County. So Blue Grove, Buffalo Springs, towards Bellevue. We're watching the area towards you. But again, here in the falls, the worst of weather appears to be now east of us. And there's a new severe thunderstorm warning that covers these areas across central and the southern parts of Clay County. It does include Lake Arrowhead. You got some hail moving into the southern side of Lake Arrowhead right now. Most of it is small, but there's your hook echo right over Windthorst. And again, you do have a little spin. We see it on radar, and we also see it in the clouds. Up in the north, you got thunderstorms here lined up now east of Duncan. And all the way down now east of Waurika, heavy rains and gusty winds pushing through eastern Jefferson and eastern Stevens County. Now, these storms are going to make their way over into Montague County, especially these over here in Clay County and Archer County. They're going to make their way towards Montague and Jack County over the next several hours, and also storm clusters down here towards Breckenridge, making their way towards PK and into Young County and towards Graham. So we'll keep an eye on that. There's your storms, though. Looking into Wichita Falls, that worst of the weather has now pushed out of the city here, which is definitely some good news here. Now, we're about your 7-day forecast. Of course, some of it's is kind of covered up here, but we have more storms. It continues off and on right into the weekend. A lot of what we see here will be late afternoon, night, and or morning with a little break in the middle of the day here. So we'll keep an eye on that as we head towards the weekend. Flooding could be a concern.
Sorry, guys, I just had to get to the weather, but that's some impressive looking stuff there. It looks like we got a wall cloud there for sure. I can see spin on it now, so but you can see the wall cloud. This is going to be very close to Windthorst. Pretty low hanging wall cloud there. I'm talking with the Weather Service now. Yeah, they're not issuing a tornado warning for it though, which I mean, I don't really see a reason for it, but that definitely does have some good rotation on it. I don't see any funnels or anything, but you can see the spin in that cloud. Yeah, Carla, they are rotating. That's exactly what they're doing. What are you looking at, Leslie, from your backyard? Let me know. What are you looking at? Where are you at, Leslie? What town are you in? And where is you? So you got a big wall cloud. Where are you at, Leslie? So you're Archer, okay. So there is Cameron's feed there. It's hard to say what we're seeing there. It's just kind of broken up. You still see the rotation, but you don't see the blocky wall cloud like you saw earlier with it. Yeah, I bet they go tornado warning for a Windthorst here pretty soon. I bet. Yeah, I can take it. Yep. Oh, we got tornado warning anyway. I got to go anyway, so just come straight to me. Yep, straight to me. And tell them to put me up on Facebook Live. No, now. Just make sure I'm up so we have it. I just needs to be up. It should. I mean, it should be whatever is going to air should be there. So we should be good. Yeah, I am. Check 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2. Just tell them to go. I mean, are we over a local commercial? Yeah, tell them to go. We just blow it out. We got tornado warning. We need to go. We got low hanging cloud. This thing's about on the ground here. We need to get on with it. Yeah, just go ahead and break that in.
You got 30 seconds.
All right. Well, that's fine.
Nine, 8, 7, 6,
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
All right, there's tornado warning up now for Archer County. This includes Windthorst and down into southwestern Clay County here. Let's go straight to Cameron. Weatherman Cam, he's got a low-hanging cloud there on it. That thing is just barely off the ground, Cameron. Cameron.
Hang on, I can't look for my microphone. There we go. Sorry, I had to find my microphone. We were outside the tracker. But yeah, I believe that right there is your wall cloud. It's been trying to build, for about the past 5 minutes or so. And this is going to be just due north of Windthorst itself. Looks like it's pushing kind of off to the east right now. This has been kind of disorganized for the good bit here. Haven't really seen it really organize itself too well. We have 2 notches. You have one over Archer City that we're watching. We also have the one out here near Windthorst. That's the one we're on right now off 281. We're sitting just a half-mile north of Windthorst at this time. This is pushing, it looks to be about the east-southeast right now. And, you know, it interacted with that outflow boundary. It looks like it helped it kind of boost itself some, but the wall cloud hasn't really organized itself. We saw some pretty rapid rising motion. However, that is starting to slow down some at this time, but we're going to keep an eye on this to see if it does want to organize into a further wall cloud and maybe even try to put down a tornado.
All right, well, we're going to keep an eye on that, Cam. Let's go back over to the radar. And there's our tornado warning we got. And again, this is east of Archer City. There's a couple notches in there we're watching, and we can put the velocities on. Yeah, you've got a couple areas of rotation. I'm about to, well, actually I see 3. I see 3 areas of rotation on here. And, you know, we've been watching this thing on the radar and basically from Cameron, and we've seen some really crazy motions in this storm here. And you've got an area of rotating or circulating winds over here just south of Blue Grove. And this is the one that Cameron is on there, just barely east of Windthorst, right along the Clay and Archer County line, and you have another area of some circulating motions going on just west of Windthorst here too. We got an outflow boundary, and again, what an outflow boundary is rain-cooled air, and what happens with that is that the air along it, the winds cause the outflow boundary, along the outflow boundary move like this. They spin in a horizontal direction. And whenever it can interact with these supercell thunderstorms, remember there's updrafts. They're lifting up the air like this. It causes that horizontal spin. It ingests and it goes up vertical, and then that helps to cause the storms to spin more. So even on days when you don't have a lot of low-level wind shear, an outflow boundary completely can change the game here. So we have rotation showing up just south of Blue Grove. This is mostly over rural sections of Clay County here, but it's just south of Blue Grove and just west-northwest of Buffalo Springs. Now this is moving kind of to the southeast here. So if you're anywhere across southern or southwestern Clay County, these are the areas we're watching for. The strongest rotation I see is this one over here, just barely east of Windthorst. Now, when you look at the radar, you really don't see anything that suggests that this is about to put a tornado down. We've been watching these clouds and the motions in these clouds all afternoon long, and there's a lot of motion in these clouds here. And fortunately, nothing has been put down yet. But if you live in Windthorst, you got rotation on. You're kind of sandwiched here. You got rotation to your east. You got rotation to your west here. And then you got, again, this storm over here near Blue Grove is also showing signs of spinning here too. But the tornado warning is going to be kind of for this area here, I believe. And there may also be, I'm just going to go ahead and throw this into the mix as well. So these are the areas we're watching, and those are some really, really dark clouds there on the radar here. So what happens, again, you got this wind, you got these colors with radar allow us to see the motions and the wind speeds in these thunderstorms here, and that's what helps us determine area of rotation. Now, I know a lot of times you can look at this and say, I don't know what that means, Ken. Well, if you take a look here, this red color represents the winds that are on the back side of the, there's probably multiple updrafts in this storm here. This is some sinking winds on the back side of the storm, and the spinning motion of the storm pulls them on around here. These are the winds blowing towards the radar. This is that warm inflow, and you got a little bit of a notch right there, kind of southeast of Lake Arrowhead and kind of just south of Blue Grove by about 5 miles or so here. Looks like we got a wall cloud over here. Let's go back to Cameron's feed, and Cameron got a wall cloud there. Which part of the storm are you on at this time?
We are playing the notch that's just located just due northeast of Windthorst at this time. Now we're on an eastward trajectory, moving parallel with the storm at the time. I believe it's going to be Highway 174. That's going to be moving right along the south of this rotation at this time. Pretty close to the wall cloud. Still has some rising motion. However, we saw it pretty rapid earlier on, not as rapid as it once was. I don't really see any signs of rear flank downdraft at this time. You do actually have, I can see some spin because we do have some clouds out ahead. You can see inflow still flowing in the storm at this time. So there is still some good moving parts of the storm. Not a lot of rotation necessarily with the wall cloud. Looks like it might be trying to organize at this current time. Not as it's we've seen it lower. We've seen our wall cloud today lower, but this one does not look to be as low. But it looks like it's trying to continue to wrap itself together with this wall cloud and then see if it tries to drop a tornado out of that. So we're sitting just about a mile east of Windthorst itself, looking right towards the notch area of the storm. So we're watching it closely to see if this does want to continue to try to wrap itself up, or if this thing is going to kind of break free off the outflow boundary and then kind of go higher base and become a bit more of a, I don't want to say limited, but kind of switch back to that hail and wind threat with that storm.
Just kind of looking at it, let's go back over to the radar. Just kind of looking at it, it kind of looks like this storm, that rotation, and this may be why it's not reaching the ground. And I think what happened, as we were on earlier, I think the outflow boundary itself was pushing through. And you got to think that that's going to help cause the storm. And you got this motion coming in from the backside, it caused the storm to spin. You got to think if you have a thing of water, like a tub of water, and you push it, what's going to happen? It's going to create a swirl or an eddy. There's your outflow boundary there. I think this part of the notch here that is east of Archer City and just west of Windthorst, that's elevated. This is your notch, but it looks like to me that it's kind of being ingested into the supercell here where Cameron is at. So you've got the outflow boundary, and remember what I said, these outflow boundaries, the motion with them does like this horizontal twists, and it spins, and whenever these rotating updrafts can ingest that, it takes that horizontal spin and tilts it vertically and starts to really ingest that. And the more it can ingest, the faster the updraft can spin, and then you get lower pressure that can condense down to the Earth's surface here. So it looks like to me that's your outflow boundary. It looks like it is ingesting in perhaps into the updraft a bit here. That is a really strong supercell thunderstorm. So even on days like today, when you don't have a lot of spin down our way at least, and we don't have a whole lot, these outflow boundaries can really change the game. Now, in addition to that, you're also seeing hail moving across the central part of Clay County on the east side of Lake Arrowhead. So let me kind of tell you what's going on. Wichita Falls, we're safe. No threat from this storm. This is the one that pushed through here earlier, but we're safe from it. Henrietta, you got heavy rain moving over you now, but the severe weather aspects are just south of Henrietta by a little bit. But if you were to drive and go south down towards Blue Grove, you get into the heavy rain and you get into at least some hail threats. Most of it's small here. You go back towards Lake Arrowhead. You've got some heavy rain over Lake Arrowhead. By the way, Lake Arrowhead has been very close to being 100%. This should get it there. Then you got on the back side of Lake Arrowhead with another updraft here about to move over the southern shores. There'll probably be some hail there. So probably some ping pong, maybe golf ball size hail moving over the southern shores of Lake Arrowhead. Then you go south of Lake Arrowhead, and again, there's your rotation. There's your little updraft right in that area, just east of Windthorst by a little bit. I'm going to go back over here to the radar, and I'm going to change sources to have a look at this here. We're going to go, let's go back to Cameron first, though. Cameron, I think that this storm, the outflow boundary anyway, I think the storm's ingesting that. Do you think that's the case, and is that a wall cloud right there?
I think so. It looks like there is a bit of a wall cloud. It's not super defined because it looks like it's starting to get mixed in with some rain on the backside of it. But what I'm seeing happen here, I might be seeing the rear flank downdraft, but it looks like there might be a bit of a wraparound with the rear flank downdraft on the velocity signature if you pull up what we call storm relative velocity, which tells us how the rain particles are moving in relation to the storm itself. And it looks like there might be some rear flank downdraft trying to wrap around the backside of the storm. It looks like I can see that moving into the storm at the time. Still seeing some inflow in the storm as well, but now we're going to go ahead and get a little further off to the east. His winds are now coming out of our west right now, so we're out of play on it at this current spot, but we're not far from it. We should get a little further up to the east. But, nothing super defined. Nothing looks imminent at this current time, but we'll keep a close eye. Nothing that really strikes me as too concerning right now, Ken. But again, there is some rotation on the radar. It's not the best rotation, not the strongest rotation, but it has something there, and it does look like there might be potentially some rear flank downdraft feeding into the storm as well. So we'll see if it's going to try to wrap up or not.
All right. Well, I mean, I'm looking at the radar here, and back over to the radar, and you still see several areas in there that are showing at least some sign of spin here. Let me get that data here. I do believe that the outflow, and without being there, without getting observations, it's really hard to see. But it looks like I don't know why it keeps doing that, but it looks like your outflow boundary, or this little boundary that it's kind of spinning along, it's kind of ingesting into about right there. You've got an updraft. An updraft again. That's like the exhaust for the storm. That's what feeds it. It pulls that in. That's what feeds the thunderstorm. So you've got an updraft there, and you probably got one right over Windthorst, and you got one east of Windthorst here too. I think that this is the one that's ingesting the that little horizontal spin in the atmosphere there. So if you kind of take a look, and like Cameron said, there's nothing here that's imminent as far as a tornado being produced, but you know, that is some pretty good spin in the thunderstorm there, just east of Windthorst. It really, at least on radar, probably some of the best rotation that I've seen thus far. Some pretty strong winds blowing into and away from. You've got that push and pull. So whenever I talk about severe weather and tornadoes, you got to have push and pull. You got, I believe that this green color that you see, I believe that this is the outflow boundary itself, I think, that's pulling in. I think that this is being pulled in. So you got this updraft that's sitting here spinning and sucking everything up. And then you got this boundary in here that's getting pulled in and sucked up here too. So that's probably what you're seeing here. You're seeing that outflow boundary getting wrapped around this. And there is your, if you ever hear Cameron talk about rear flank downdraft, you got the sinking air on the backside of the thunderstorm here that's pushing on around. And if this ever can kind of gust out and kind of begin to call it, what do they call it? They call it RFD. I forget what they call it. It's when the RFD and the inflow get real close together, and it creates the stronger wind, the stronger rotation. But you do got a pretty good couplet there, just east of Windthorst. And again, I believe that that's your outflow boundary getting sucked into here. So we'll have to watch this. If this sinking air, this rear flank downdraft can surge out a bit here and begin to wrap around more, we could get a tornado that could develop over here east of Windthorst. So if you're down, and again, the good news is this is in rural areas, southwest of Blue Grove, east of Windthorst here. There could be something trying to develop over in this area here. If it does, it would probably be brief. It probably wouldn't be on the ground for long, but a brief tornado could be possible, you know, if this thing can continue to show any signs of wrapping up. But, you know, the good news also with having a storm chaser and spotters in the field, you get a good bird's eye view at the clouds look like, because you look at the radar and you can say, oh, well, this is going on. But when you get a good look at the clouds, you can say, oh, well, this is what's going on. You can either confirm this or you can deny this. And when I see on the cloud from what Cameron is showing me, yeah, it looks like a lot of downward motion. You don't see a lot of, I don't really see a lot of blocky wall clouds in that right now. It's like mostly what we see there is kind of outward pushing motions there. But on the radar anyway, it tells a bit of a different story. Rotation is fairly broad, but again, we're going to watch this and see if it wraps around here. We'll have to kind of wait and see. Just judging on what I'm seeing with the clouds that are right there, looks like that is not happening, at least not yet anyway. But we'll need to keep a close eye on it. But again, this is moving over the rural areas down here in Clay County. So I'm talking about areas maybe down towards Shannon and south of Blue Grove and west of Buffalo Springs. So it's kind of in this area right there, southwestern Clay County. Oh, looks like we may have something. Cameron, let's go to you right now. Let's go to Cameron. Looks like a little funnel maybe dipping down there, huh?
No, I see what you're seeing on the camera. That's not a funnel cloud. I believe it's just inflow. You got a lot of scud out here ahead of this. So we're getting out ahead of the rotation at this time. We're getting out of the rain right now. That looks like a funnel cloud, but I promise it's not a funnel cloud. I do believe that's just going to be some inflow flowing into the storm right now. So it looks deceiving on the camera, but that's just some general inflow going into the storm right now. So a little deceiving on the camera, but nothing imminent. So at this time, we're going towards just pushing east right now. We have downward chasers out here right now as well. We're pushing east out of Windthorst, getting out ahead of this thing right now. Not too far ahead, but just a little bit out ahead to keep us out of the rain and get a better panoramic view of the storm, because we're kind of sitting, not necessarily on top of it, but sitting pretty close to it. So I want to get us further away so we can get a better view of what's going on and see the motions in the storm.
All right, back over to the radar we go. And so this is what we're looking at here. The overall structure of the storm just continues to kind of, it kind of looks a little bit messier than it did a few minutes ago. You don't really see the hooks. Of course, it could be trying to reorganize. But it does look kind of messy. So let me talk about what else is going on besides here. So we got people asking about, hey, what's going on over in Monte County? Well, there's the northern side of that cluster of storms that is moving across Clay County. We're talking about heavy rain in Henrietta, Ringgold, those areas here. That's about to build over into the western parts of Monte County here soon. So Nocona, you're going to get some rain and maybe some wind. Right now, there are no warnings in effect for this part of the storm. We go down to the south and look down into Bowie, and there's some really strong, probably some hefty clouds, heavy-looking dark clouds just west of you there, and some heavy rain will be moving over into the Bowie area pretty shortly. So if you are in Bowie, I'd say probably by 7:15, there'll be some heavy rain and gusty winds moving into your area, and you might even see some hail there too. Now down towards Jacksboro, there's a couple little storms that have tried to develop between Jacksboro and Antelope, but that main storm is up there into Clay County still. So if you're wondering about buoy, are you going to get a warning? I think you could get a severe thunderstorm warning. We'll continue to watch the spin. There's been some decent spin in it, but nothing that's looked tornadic. And again, like I've been saying, I just think we just don't have enough of the low-level wind shear to really produce that. But these outflow boundaries can sometimes make, a bit of a difference in that there. And of course, we've been watching Cameron's feed, and looks like we got maybe a wall cloud in the distance. Is that what you see there, Cameron? Is that a wall cloud in the distance?
Showing you the inflow on the storm right now. We're showing you the inflow on the feed right now. That's what you're seeing. That's pretty good air rising into the storm at this time. We're getting further ahead because this thing's moving pretty quickly. And one thing that's going to be a really a challenge is if this is going to have a tornado, it is going to be rain wrapped. Because I mean, we're getting out ahead of the storm a good bit, but I mean, this thing is messy and it is got a lot of rain within it. So if it's going to produce a tornado, it's going to be rain wrapped. So it's going to be hard to see it as well.
Is there much chaser convergence out there, Cameron?
There's a good number of chasers out here. We actually just passed an intersection where there's a good probably 10, 20 chasers out here, but not like we see on our, what we call the high risk days, not like where it's bumper to bumper traffic. It's pretty manageable today.
All right, back over to the radar, here we go. And still looking at these storms here, and back toward Archer City now. You've got some showers over you, but the worst of that, of the storm anyway, is east of you. So we got people saying that the sirens are going off in Scotland, but if you look, there's Scotland, and any rotation is south of you. It is not over Scotland. So no need to have the sirens going off in Scotland, that is for sure. Heavy rain, of course, like I've said before, different cities have different criterias for when they sound the alarm, and it doesn't always have to be tornado warnings for them to sound the alarms. My best advice for you is to, all right, so the outdoor warning system is meant to alert people who are outdoors. But I don't think it was ever meant, even when they first installed it back in the 70s and 80s, I don't think it was ever meant to be your only source of getting your weather information, especially in today's world. You got weather at your fingertips really anytime, day or night. So my best advice to you is a NOAA weather radio. Of course, those are down right now. So the very best advice is to download our app. Our app, the First Alert 6 weather app, has the features where it will alert you. You can set it for what alerts you want. You can set it for what counties you want. It's the best thing you can do. And to me, that's the best. Don't worry about sirens anymore. They're good if you're outdoors and just to be alerted, but it's better to have, because everybody has their cell phone on you. So that to me is the better thing to do is, let's go with today's technology, and let's go with that. So there's that low-hanging cloud, Cameron. Looks like that thing is pretty low-hanging there, kind of blocky there too.
Yeah, we're a good bit ahead of the storm right now. Not too far ahead, but now we're at a spot where we can get some pretty good visuals on it right now. And you can see a lot of really good ground scraping inflow going into the storm right now. So it's still pulling in some really warm and humid air at this time. And you can start to see a better visual of the wall cloud. Like I said, if you're too far behind close to the storm, it's going to be wrapped in rain, so it's a bit harder to see. But now we're getting a bit ahead of it right now and seeing some pretty good visuals at this time. I don't see anything imminent right now still. Nothing overly well-defined in terms of funnel clouds or anything of the sort, but it's a pretty menacing looking wall cloud now. Not to the magnitude like we saw out there in Baylor County about a month or so ago, but it kind of does have that really strong inflow going into it as well, and just a pretty rough, ragged structure to it as well. So nothing major still ongoing at this time, but we're watching it closely, staying ahead of this thing, moving pretty much parallel with it. Great chase going on right now, and we'll keep an eye to see if this thing does try to produce anything. But that's the latest. Still wall cloud, great inflow, and that's about it right now.
Try to get up close to it so you can see it. Since it's not really producing a tornado or anything, try to get right there on it and get us some good video there. That'd be awesome.
I'm not opposed to the idea. The only downside is the road network doesn't really let me do that, because the roads out here where I'm at right now aren't too favorable right now. My best option road-wise is where I'm at right now.
No, but if you get a chance, get up there and let's take a look. Let's take a look at it there. So anyway, we're back into the radar, and you can still see. I can still see some spin in it. Looking at the velocities, I don't know why this keeps doing this. But if you take a look here, the latest velocities, that's a pretty decent area. I don't see a super tight couplet in there, but there's good rotation between Shannon, Blue Grove, and Buffalo Springs. That's some pretty decent rotation. I can see the updraft in there. All right, so it's almost like a little eye of a hurricane. You can almost see it. There's your center. There's your center of the circulation that was right in there, and I don't know why this keeps happening like that. I don't know what's going on to cause this, but you can see that was where our circulation was. I don't know if the radar keeps going down, or I don't think that's the case. I'm not sure what it is. But anyway, there's your rotation in the storm. And it looks to me like there's a decent. It looks like they might be trying to produce something. If we take a look there, look at that wall cloud, folks. Cameron, to me the rotation looks pretty good.
Oh, I definitely agree. Definitely has some good rotation looking at the radar, especially if you look at I've been looking at storm relative velocity myself, which again tells me how the winds are moving in relation to the storm. So what we're about to do now is we're about to pull off here on the side of the road. We're going to sit for a minute or two. Just watching, you got a really good visual of the wall cloud. Fantastic inflow dead ahead of us. Plenty of inflow going into the storm at this current moment. And like I said, we're going to pull over here, get a better visual on the storm right now, and then we'll keep you updated.
All right, so I'm just reading from the Weather Service. Still some tornado potential there, but strong RFD winds also there. I'm just reading the Weather Service here, so that's all I was doing. But yeah, that's been a pretty impressive storm, to say the least there. And if we look at the radar again, you can see where the spin is there. It's moving just south of Blue Grove. A pretty good rotation. I don't see a super tight couplet that suggests that it's producing a tornado, but there is definitely some spin in there. Judging on, this is what we call velocities, and again the radar is showing, the wind direction and the wind speed. Now, in addition to that, you got some strong winds that are pushing out from the thunderstorm. That's again, it's called the rear flank downdraft. And that's pushing out, and those strong winds on the backside. And now it looks like to me the storm is moving more east than it is southeast. So you might, if this rotation continues, you might see this tornado warning get maybe pushed over there to Buffalo Springs and maybe even the Bellevue area. And if that were to happen, then you might even have to watch out over here in the Monte County. But we'll just have to see what this thing does and what the behavior of it looks like here. But again, no tornado on the ground, nothing that's confirmed here anyway. We do see, you can see the little updraft right in there. You can see the spin in it. And you can see the little dot, and the little updraft in this thunderstorm here would be right about there. That's it. And then over here on the left of my screen, there's your motions with the storm there. You got some what we call the strong winds on the backside of it. You got some strong winds moving in. A lot of the different motions in these winds here, and it's been a wicked cloud, to say the least. And this is the same cloud that went through Wichita Falls and produced those strong wind gusts about 5:30. Then it moved out into Archer County, and then it began to ride along that outflow boundary. And whenever that happened, it started ingesting that spin, and it caused it to start rotating a bit here. So, and that's why we now got these tornado warnings down there into Clay County. Again, this is well south of Henrietta. You can still see that motion in the storm. Cameron, is that RFD moving over you now?
Sorry, I was on the tracker. Yeah, that is RFD that's moving over us right now. That's what we're watching. We're watching the RFD. In terms of where we're at, in terms of the couple, I'm trying to see if I can get a better eye. We're probably sitting about, let's see here, draw it up here on my radar. 1 second here, Ken. I'm trying to get an idea of how far I am from the couplet. Looking probably about 2 or 3 miles off to our northwest at this time. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to stay ahead of the rear flank downdraft because it's obviously windy in there and got a lot of rain, makes it a bit more difficult to drive. But the chaser convergence is starting to catch up as well. So we're about to get back on the move here. Good rear flank downdraft, good inflow flowing into the storm. Still pretty warm and humid air out ahead of the storm. So still a pretty favorable environment for the storm. It's just going to be a matter of if it has enough spin at the Earth's surface to get down to the Earth's surface or not.
You can see the spin there on your feed. Yeah, you guys are probably going to need to move to get out of the way from all that stuff there. So we'll keep an eye on it. But there's your the latest radar. And again, this is called reflectivity. So in addition to the threat of a tornado here, which we don't see one yet or nothing imminent, you've also got hail. And like you heard Cameron say, it's pretty wrapped in rain. And this is south of Blue Grove. And it is to the west there, west-northwest of Buffalo Springs. And if we put this in motion here, you can really see it kind of wrapping up there. And it's the rotating part of the storm is moving a little bit more east now than it is southeast here. And that's a pretty low-hanging cloud there from Cameron's feed. Cameron, is that what is that we're seeing there?
That right there looks like it is. It might be trying to build into the wall cloud, or it could just be some general inflow. I see exactly what you're talking about. I can't really tell. I think it's just potentially some no wall cloud inflow. It's really hard to tell. I'm on the move right now, but it looks like it could either be wall cloud or it could just be some general inflow at this time. It's really hard to tell. Like I said, this storm is, we're almost not quite parallel with the rotation. Oh my goodness, lightning is crazy. Sorry. We got, the clouds here. It could be a wall cloud, could be inflow. It's really hard to tell, but it's flowing directly into the storm this time. You still got ahead of it plenty of good inflow, but I honestly cannot discern if that's going to be inflow or wall cloud. If the wall clouds will be further wrapped back into the rain or not. But yeah.
Yeah, you can see that. You can see the moisture flowing into it there. So I'm going to walk over to the wall and kind of explain to our viewers what they're seeing here. And again, this is over there in southern Clay County. This is kind of Buffalo Springs, Blue Grove area, kind of rural areas here. But this, if you see these little clouds here, that's moisture. That's that humid air flowing into the thunderstorm. When we talk about inflow, that's what that is there. You can see it feeding into the thunderstorm. So this is the motion in the storm is flowing into this direction here. And notice how this is a curved cloud back this way. If you ever hear us talk about the RFD, this is that sinking air on the back side of it here. And in this case, it would be some rain-cooled air too. And so you got to think the updraft is spinning here. So you've got the inflow in here. Here's your RFD. And when these two start to interact, you'll start seeing a bit of, what happens is the pressure in the storm drops, and you get a low-hanging wall cloud here. So that looks like to me where you'd see your wall cloud here. And if this RFD could ever really wrap and cut into the inflow and kind of begin to narrow the channel here a bit, that's when you have to worry about it producing a tornado. There's a lot of research that's being done about the role that these two features take place in storms. And when you see these, the Doppler on wheels, the Dow, and those things are out there, and all these scientists that come out to the plains and study these things every year, that's what they're doing. They're measuring the winds, and they're out there looking at it here. And that's a very impressive looking cloud. Again, this is thankfully over rural areas, but the good news is it's not producing anything. To get a tornado, you see this inflow flowing in. You kind of have to have that down here too some, and you just don't have a lot of that outside of those boundaries here. But look at how things have kind of blocked off now here. So there's your RFD coming in. That was your inflow. You can kind of see the little finger there. And right in there, you're getting a wall cloud there. You can see the blocky look of it there. So you get these different motions, you get these different temperatures, you get these condensation, and if all this can spin up enough, then the pressure in the storm, it's low pressure, it will lower to the ground here. It stretches, and also notice how it's tilted here as well. That's your inflow, and the more it tilts, it pulls that warm, moist air in from out of the Earth's surface here. Now, to get the better low-level wind shear, you've got to have winds that hit it harder up around this part of the storm here. Up here, you can have some strong winds, but that doesn't have as much to do with what's going on down here. But that's a pretty blocky wall cloud there over there in rural parts of Clay County here this evening. And it definitely got some spin to it. Cameron, you guys are trying to reposition yourself, but that thing is really looks pretty blocky to me.
Oh yeah, definitely a good blocky wall cloud. Unfortunately, the trees are kind of becoming an issue right now, but we're about to get out of these trees and get to some hilltops here. But definitely a blocky wall cloud. I'm not in a spot, I'm too low of an elevation where I could see if it has any lowering coming out of that wall cloud. But now we're getting pretty well ahead of the storm to where we do have good visuals on the wall cloud. That's kind of been the issue of this chase, is we're been almost, I don't say too close, but just in a spot where we can't really see the structure that well. So we're getting out here. We're going down 281, or I believe it's 281. No, 174. Sorry, excuse me. 174. And Ken, I tell you what, this lighting is wicked. We're watching through the windshield, just lightning bolts come directly across on the highway. So very, very dangerous lighting in place of the storm as well as of course the tornado warning too. Still got really favorable inflow going into the storm, but we're about to come up on a hill. Wonder if maybe at the top of the hill we can get a better visual of this wall cloud ourselves. So we'll see here in just about 30 seconds or so. Yeah, you can see the wall cloud pretty decently there. But we'll get you updated when we get into a better spot. We're about to, once we get a spot clear where we have some clearing, we'll pull over and take another look.
I'm going to do some radar analysis. And there's a new tornado warning now that goes for southern Clay County. And remember, I told you earlier, I wouldn't be surprised to see this thing get nudged a little bit. The first warning kind of had it warned southeast. But when these things are spinning and they're interacting with these boundaries, they have a tendency to change course here a bit. And it's kind of changed course a little bit, has some deviant storm motions. And this is moving over Buffalo Springs. But if you're in the community of Buffalo Springs, the town of Buffalo Springs, and you're no stranger to weather like this, this is going to be something wrapped in rain, and you have to keep a close eye on it. So now's the time to be in your tornado safe spot. And on radar, there's still good rotation in it. You don't really see a super tight couplet. You know, you don't really see, at least on radar. Basically, what I see on radar is exactly what I see with Cameron's feed there. You see the broad rotation, and you see what would probably be a wall cloud. I don't see just a super tight couplet, although it is pretty decent. And you do got some strong motions for sure. But you know, the radar presentation isn't quite there yet for a tornado, at least on these scans here. Of course, the scans can come in and they can be a bit different. It can take them sometime a little while for them to update. But I do want to also urge people downwind here as well. The storm is no longer moving southeast. It's moving more east-southeast. So Buffalo Springs, community of Buffalo Springs, this is headed right at you. It's about to move right over Joy. It's right over Joy right now. The rotation is right over Joy. Again, as you've heard Cameron talk about, this is a rain-wrapped circulation in this storm here. And it's moving over Joy, and from there it's going to be moving basically right along 174, or maybe just a hair north of 174, and then going to move right across Buffalo Springs. It should be in Buffalo Springs shortly. From there, Vashti, you could be impacted by this. Bellevue, it's going to be a close call. It could go, at least on this trajectory, looks like it would go near or just south of you, and that would probably be by about 7:15, 7:20. From there, if it holds together, it will be impacting the Bowie. Now, Bowie, you're under severe thunderstorm warning, but if this thing continues, if it continues to spin, and I'm not saying it will, then we could see some tornado warnings issued over there. That's just where everything has been this year. It seems like Montague County. Cameron, it looks like you got a good shot of the wall cloud there again.
Yeah, we're getting to a hilltop here where we got some decent clearing out here. So we're about to pull over and just kind of sit for a second. Actually, going to pull just a little bit further up here. But yeah, now we're getting ahead. We're still ahead of this thing right now. It's decently off to our back right now, but I want to stay ahead of this because the rain kind of coming across the highway right now. I don't want to get caught in too much of heavy rain, especially with all the chasers that are out here on the roads. The lightning is absolutely wicked right now, Ken. Seeing nothing but clouded ground out ahead of the storm right now. And unfortunately, that wall cloud does look like it's blocked by a bit of some trees at the moment, but we're pulling off now, and now we're just going to sit for a little bit and wait for this thing to come closer to us to get a better visual on it.
Okay, well, let's see here. I'm going to go back over to the radar, kind of reset the situation here a bit. And there is, like I say, everything is wrapped in rain for sure. It's going to be real difficult to see anything that spins there. But heavy rain and hail from Blue Grove into the Buffalo Spring area. This is going to continue to build east towards Vashti, and then eventually it heads over to southwestern parts of Montague County. So Bowie will watch you. We'll see what happens. We'll see what the behavior of the storm is like. We can go north, and there's storms that this is the northern side of this complex. That'll head towards Nacona, but that is not severe. We can jump up into Jefferson County, and a lot of the activity is now shifted east of Waurika, which is certainly some good news here. Also, I don't mean to be ignoring our southern counties, but there hasn't been as much bad weather down there today. Now, there's another supercell kind of south of Possum Kingdom, but that's been a severe thunderstorm warning. And there's, again, the reason why it's not a tornado warning is there's no boundary for it to spin on. The low-level wind shear just isn't good enough for it to produce a tornado by itself. All right, let's go with Cameron right now. Cameron's got something he wants to talk about. Cameron, what's up?
Ken, something I was noticing I want you to take a look at as well. I'm not sure if you're doing it between looking at radar scans and such, is I have some questions about the placement of the rotation on the storm because, it's kind of getting to that area where there's a bit of a radar hole at this time. It's kind of in that crossing zone between Dallas and then the Frederick radar. If you look between Frederick, it has the couplet kind of north of the highway at this time. If you take a look into the radar out of Dallas, it looks like it is now south of the highway. So there's some deferring questions regarding the placement of this couplet right now. So that's something to keep an eye on as well, to see where the exact couplet is, just based off what the radar is showing right now. So it's kind of messy on the radar just because we're kind of getting that spot where it's just crossing between the two, the two radars. It's kind of a bit of a radar hole right now, but it's kind of tricky. I don't know if it's going to be north of the highway or south of the highway between the two radars, because that kind of makes or breaks the chase right now with the way it's going.
Yeah, it could be very, very difficult, but I'm still seeing the rotation there. I'm going to go back to my radar so I can kind of tell you where that's at. And the rotation on the radar here is going to be pretty close to Buffalo Springs here. And if you take a look at it, it actually looks like the rotation in the storm has actually kind of faded a little bit. It kind of looks like it's gone from a circulation. It looks like it might have gusted out. It looks like the RFD, rear flake downdraft, may have pushed it out. It may be becoming outflow dominant, or it could just be reorganizing. Hard to say. These things do that from time to time. But it looks to me like you've got more push than pull now, at least on these radar scans. And you got kind of a bit of elongated, strong, gusty wind from that the backside of that downdraft there, about to move right over Buffalo Springs. So it looks to me like you don't have as much. While there's still some rotation in it, you don't have the tight rotation or the tornadic spin that you had in it. But that could also change at a moment's notice here. These things, the supercells, they go through cycles, they change, they have a tendency to have to reorganize, and they become cyclical, and that's just kind of how it goes. Now, if you look at it out of Fort Worth, and to me, it looks like this is a long way from the radar site. You still see a bit of a circulation there, but it's going to be kind of up high coming into Buffalo Springs now. And Buffalo Springs, a little community down there in southern Clay County. Actually, I've met some people that have been there or that are from there before. And from there, you got some strong gusty winds or maybe a little spin, moving right along Buffalo Springs, headed towards Vashti, and there's going to be some strong gusty winds moving into Bellevue. Now, if this thing were to spin up and so start wrapping up again, it could wind up maybe down here in southwestern Montague County. So we're going to watch closely for you. Now, I do see also there's a little bit of spin that's developed up here, or maybe some type of it could be just some rotation aloft, but there's a little bit of spin that's showing up here west of Nocona. It doesn't look like anything major, but there definitely is a little bit of a spin there just south of Ringgold headed towards Nocona. That doesn't look like anything major, but I will keep an eye on that. You can kind of see this is kind of a separate storm. This was kind of the northern part of it, and it's kind of trying to take on a little bit of a characteristic of its own here, maybe a little bit of spin there south of 82. The one that we've been watching and tracking for the most of the evening here is kind of moving east-southeast down there in southern Clay County. Heavy rain and hail, Buffalo Springs to Blue Grove, and this continues to kind of move to the east-southeast. So it looks like to me that on the back side of this, you got your updraft sitting about right in there, and on the back side of this, you got this sinking air, and it might be kind of pushing out some now. So that may be what you're seeing here. We'll go to Cameron's feed and see what it is. But it's still some pretty scary-looking clouds there, Cameron.
Yeah, still some scary-looking clouds. Looks like there is, still the inflow. Still, I don't really necessarily see a well-structured wall cloud this given time. But yeah, I know I talked to you about this, just a few minutes ago, talking about the placement of the rotation based off the radar. I think Dallas radar is doing a better job of handling the current rotation and the placement and such, because it does look like it's now south of the highway. So now what I'm doing is I'm going towards the Montague County area, not necessarily into Montague County, but there's a road for me to drop south of Vashti. US County, Vashti. I'm going to drop south out of there because I have to get off this highway now with the storm being off to the south. Because it looks like it might be taking on a bit more of a southeast motion now. So I have to now find a way to get further south. That's about 5 miles away before I can make a southward turn and then get back on the underside of this storm. I can still see plenty of good inflow going into the storm. It doesn't look as aggressive with the inflow. I mean, you still got some good skirt ahead of it, still good inflow, but not as aggressive as we saw it earlier on. So that's the latest. We're still on the highway. We're about 4 miles from dropping south and getting out of this, because right now, I gotta stay ahead of this because we're starting to get to the forward flanking downward drop, which is where it gets pretty messy with the storm between heavy rain, wind, and some hail. So I'm gonna get south here in the next 4 miles so I can get out of the forward flanking downward drop.
All right. So we're going to go back over here. Of course, Cam's trying to always position himself. It's all part of storm chasing here. You get to ride right along with them. People always come up to Cameron out and myself out, hey, I want to go storm chasing. What can I do to get to go into the storm chase vehicle? What we're looking at here, and this is going to be, that's out of Fort Worth. It still looks like it's hitting the storm kind of high. But you definitely do got a bit of a punch. But you've got a couple things that I'm looking at here. And like I was saying earlier, when you're dealing with these supercell thunderstorms, they have tendencies to organize and reorganize, and then they'll change position. You'll get new spin and whatnot here along it. And we do got you've got it looks like you've got a new little area of rotation right there, kind of northwest of Post Oak, and kind of northeast of Shannon. There's Buffalo Springs here, over here, Vashti. I've been calling it Vashti, located about right over into this area. So, I mean, you've got your spin here. You may wind up seeing this thing spin up. So Buffalo Springs will continue to watch you over here into the south. Between you and Post Oak, we'll watch the northern parts of Jack County. They're going to watch over here in the southwestern Monte County. Bowie, I know you've got paying close attention to what's going on to your west here. So much bad weather this year. And just as of late, when we get severe weather, it seems like it's always Jack, Southern Clay, and over into Monte County. It's just been that way. It seems like it's just been that way as of late. It's just where all the bad weather has kind of shaped up to be. But you got the red. There's your winds wrapping around it. There's your winds blowing into it. So you do still got a bit of a circulation still showing up in there, right along the Buffalo Springs area here too. So we're watching this again. A lot of weird things are going on with the radar as far as motions in the storm and different things, because there's usually boundaries over here, and that's kind of what's making it kind of hard to see. Because you've also got some outflow, some outer winds, upper level winds here. I think that might be some anvil layer winds maybe. But look at the cloud over there on the side, and it just looks to me like more of a shelf cloud than it does a wall cloud. At this time here, of course, you can still see some inflow into the thunderstorm, and you see some outwards and some pushing in there. And those kinds of things here. But it doesn't look to me like it has quite the rotation. But like Cameron's been saying, it's kind of on the edge of the radar here, so it's real difficult to see. But you can see it kind of moving more off to the southeast now. We'll just have to see what the behavior looks like. You still got a little bit of a spin there just north of Buffalo Springs. And then you got a bit of a surge. That could just be a RFD surge on the south side there. Your main rotation could be right there north of Buffalo Springs still. And then again, you got this other little rotating area, broad rotation between Ringgold and Nocona now too. No tornado warning there, but we're going to watch that too. Nocona, it could move pretty close to you, so we'll keep an eye on that as that moves into your area. So I'm going back to Cameron here. Cameron, it looks like you just got a pretty elongated, perhaps maybe shelf cloud where you're at. It still looks like to me there might be a little rotation just north of Buffalo Springs on radar, but it doesn't look all that strong to me at this time.
Yeah, it still has some lowering coming out of it. However, from my exact location, it still might have, you can still see the mesocyclone. It might still have a bit of a wall cloud. It's not the most structured wall cloud, but I do believe this does still have a wall to it right now. And something else I'm watching, Ken, if you're watching the radar looping over the Windthorst area, we talked about these storms cycling and all that. I wonder how this stuff on the backside of the Windthorst right now is going to interact with this storm. I don't know if it's going to infect it at all, but that's something I'm watching as well. See, maybe it's going to try to completely restructure itself to drop the rotation, potentially off to the backside of the storm as well. Outside your notching is, pretty self-explanatory of where it's at, but I wonder if on the backside we're going to see this thing cycle to where the rotation tries to drop off over the Windthorst area and cycle back off to the west. So I'm keeping on that as well, but now I've finally gotten back on the southward. And again, it does have a cyclone. I do still believe it does have a wall cloud. It's not the prettiest looking wall cloud, but I do believe there is a wall cloud that's still attached to the storm right now.
So Cameron's kind of getting some data areas there too. And so, a couple areas we're watching again. You got this one near Buffalo Springs. And to me, at least right now on radar, it's not as impressive as it was. In fact, I'm not saying that's going to happen, because it's still got some spin in it. I don't know what the Weather Service is going to do. I don't know if they'll continue this warning. There is a severe thunderstorm warning for Bowie. But at least based upon the radar presentation, it doesn't look to me, at least right now, like it's about to produce anything. And it's wrapped in rain at that. But there's still that circulation. It's kind of broad, but it's kind of in there just north of Buffalo Springs. And this is going to be moving barely a hair south of Bellevue. No tornado with that. Good news is there's been no reports of tornadoes with this here today. And we've been all over it. We've just seen it if it would have happened. And then you got this other little area of broad rotation between Ringgold and Nocona. Nothing that's tornadic in that one either, but there could be some pretty gusty winds in that as it makes its way towards Nocona. In addition to that, a lot of heavy rainfall, a lot of hail down there, at least some small hail. Today's atmosphere really wasn't primed for huge hail, but we did see some golf ball size hail, and that's kind of what you'd expect to see with this type of environment. Now, we do see another area of storms that has gotten its act together now kind of east of Graham, headed into the Jacksboro area. And then you go down to the south, and you got that another pretty big supercell just south of Possum Kingdom Lake. Those storms down that way, and a little bit of rotation, but you don't have as much spin with those, again, because you don't have the boundaries there that you have up to the north. You can almost see our outflow boundary. There it is. See that long line there? That's your outflow boundary, and it probably extends from about the Blue Grove, Shannon area right through Alney. North of that, your threat for severe weather is over with now. Here in the Falls, threat for severe weather is over with. I mean, I don't even think that we'll see rain again the rest of the night. And I think we're going to see a nice break from the action tomorrow. But late tomorrow night and Thursday, we'll have more storms that'll move in. There'll be some more of this, what we call MCS stuff moving in late at night and early in the morning. And we could see some more off and on activity right into the weekend. It's just been a crazy spring with all this heavy rain we've had. You know, we needed it and we got it. And, you know, I've always said in this part of the country, and especially in Northwest Texas, Southwest Oklahoma, it's feast or it's famine. You either get it or you don't. And this year we're getting it. In many years we don't. So this year we're getting it. A lot of heavy rain. And we could see some more flooding threats as we head into the latter part of the week and the weekend here too. So, but there's your radar here. And, you know, again, Buffalo Springs, Post Oak, some little areas of rotation in there, nothing major right now. I'm watching it to see what happens for Bowie, but you can see, again, this is from this is out of the Fort Worth. You can see that little area of rotation just barely west of Nocona there. Not a major rotation, but a little bit of a spin there. Just west of Nocona, you might see a little spin in the clouds, but nothing that's producing a tornado, nothing that's dangerous, nothing to be concerned with. And, you know, there again, this storm that's now moving through Buffalo Springs, it just looks to me more like a gusty wind area than it does a tornado area, which is good news here. It doesn't look like it's as significant as it was here, but I'm keeping my eye on it here. Then you look at it out of Fort Worth, and you can see maybe a little bit of an area of rotation there, kind of along the border of Clay and Jack County that could maybe potentially head towards Truce. So you know, just hard to, in this part of the area, it's so hard to track because you know, you're kind of in between radars, which would be in the radar in Frederick and the radar down in Fort Worth. It's hitting the storm up high in the sky, so it's very difficult to say, you know, what's going on with all that because of the height in the atmosphere, the beam hits it. So we're watching that pretty closely. Here's Cameron's feet again, and looks like they got again, they're trying to get reposition, and they're moving along here, kind of a bit of maybe a dead spot. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump off of News Channel 6, and if we need to jump back on, we will. But we'll continue to follow this on the app and on our website and on Facebook Live. And if we need to come back on News Channel 6, we will. But as the storm continues to kind of show signs of kind of weakening a bit, I'm going to jump off of TV and go back to programming. And if we do get anything else, we'll come back on. So like I say, I do still see this rotation there near Post Oak, but it just appears to be, it's so far away from the radar sites, it's hard to say. It looks like you got some, maybe more of a Boeing-shaped feature there over Buffalo Springs, and then maybe something down towards Post Oak, but it's very, very difficult to say. You know, that would make sense that the Post Oak area would be where the little rotation's showing up here. Cameron, where are you at right now?
Where am I at? I am kind of scraping along Clay and Monte County, pushing into the south. I'm about to come up on an intersection here soon to either keep going east or south, or I go towards Monte County, but we're about to have a break in the trees right in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and there is a view of your storm that we're tracking. Looks definitely pretty disorganized at this given time. Nothing overly impressive looking. I mean, you can still see some lowering out of it, but it's a question of, does it have a wall cloud or does it have a shelf cloud, which just looks very fragmented right now is the best way to put how it looks to us right now. You can, let's see if I can, no, it's unfortunately raining. So unfortunately the camera's a little blocked up there, has a lot of raindrops on it, but there's some fragmenting to it. It still has inflow going into the storm, but does not look as blocky as it once did. I really do think the storm is starting to struggle a little bit, but I don't think I can confidently say it's a shelf cloud. Also don't think I can confidently say there's a wall cloud either. So it's just kind of a stagnant phase right now is probably the best way to put it.
All right. Yeah, it looks to me like it's kind of become a little bit outflow dominant. It doesn't look like it's going to be, to me, doesn't look like it's going to be as impressive as it was, you know, a little while ago here. So, you know, we continue to watch it and see, is it, you know, the question is, will it make a run over into Monte County? That's the question. Will it do that? I don't know that it will, but again, it doesn't look as scary as it did. You know, it looks like it's you know, mostly kind of what we call outflow winds in the storm here. You can actually see it building on the backside, kind of down towards Windthorst. Now, Windthorst, I know you were under warning earlier, but this part of the storm is not, maybe a little downpour, a little hail, but that is not anything tornadic there. And probably not even much in the way of wind with that either, but that's kind of along the front or kind of right behind the front. So if we take a look here, we got, again, we do have some spin down there, kind of down there south of Post Oak and Buffalo Springs area. But nothing major. Nothing. We'll see what the Weather Service does. I don't know that they'll carry this tornado warning over into Jack and Montague or even down into Wise County. They could, but I don't know. The best rotation, you do see a little bit. It does look like it's kind of outflow, kind of a lot of wind motion in the storm. That's the Buffalo Spring now. This is kind of spread out here. This is kind of more kind of punching out. You don't really have the couplet, the spin area. You do have a little bit of that down here, kind of towards Post Oak, but you may also be seeing some of the winds kind of blow out. Are we looking out of Fort Worth? Or are we looking out of Frederick? That's out of Frederick. So yeah, you do see a little bit of that. You do see some spin there, but a lot of that's kind of aloft there, right along the Jack and Clay County border. So that's where your little rotation is, and you kind of see the feed there. And just the way that looks cloud-wise, that looks to me more like a shelf cloud than it does a wall cloud. And I know a lot of people don't understand the difference between the two, but a wall cloud is a cloud that's spinning. It's got wind motions where you got warm air feeding into it from one direction. You got some air coming around the back side of it, and it produces this blocky-looking wall cloud. But then you get what we call a shelf cloud, and that's just winds all blowing in one direction there, and it's rain-cooled air, so associated with that. So that's not anything that's going to produce tornadoes. Like earlier in Wichita Falls, when we got all that damage that moved through, that was a shelf cloud. That was not a tornado. That was just strong winds. But in this instance here, these are we've seen some wall clouds out there this afternoon, and we've also seen some shelf clouds, and it just looks to me like what you see now is mostly wind motions blowing in one direction. You do got this kind of this elongated feature there where you got the reds and the greens matching up, but the greens are kind of punching out, and you don't really see them wrapping back up. So that tells me that that's mostly just wind blowing out from the storm across Jack County there. So, but into Montague County, there is still a little bit of rotation. Just west of you over there, just east of Buffalo Springs. It's not at the major, but there's still a little bit of a spin there. And remember, we were watching a little spin up there towards Nacona, but that's kind of then petered out a little bit. And we'll just see what happens with these storms as they come out of Clay County and into Montague County. We could just wind up seeing just mostly just winds blowing one direction and just seeing straight line winds as opposed to anything tornadic here. So if you look up the way, there's been quite a few tornado warnings up across Oklahoma today. You hear me talk about I don't rely on the Storm Prediction Center for my forecasts. I know what works in our part of the country and what produces what here. And today was just not a day we thought we'd see severe weather with wind and hail, but we really never thought we'd see tornadoes, and we haven't. But the storms have had just enough of some spin thanks to some of these outflow boundaries to allow for these storms to produce these spins and produce a little bit of some rotation aloft. It's a pretty impressive picture Cameron has there. Cameron, looks like you got a little spin above you, maybe, or maybe what is that right there?
That's just looks like the leading edge of what might be some forward flanking downdraft. I'm at a stop road right now. I'm off Highway 59. I have two options: either go towards Bowie or I go further south. And I think the play might be just a little bit further south, given the storm motion. Yeah, I think further south is gonna be the play. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna go further south.
Okay. Well, we are watching that still here too, and we're gonna watch it and keep tracking it for a little while longer anyway. Right now it looks like it's mostly a wind and hail situation, and the tornado threat doesn't look particularly high. It looks like it's actually beginning to cluster up into one big area of storms now. And as that happens, you're probably going to begin to see everything kind of become more of a damaging wind threat towards Jack and maybe into Montague County and then down into Wise County, and that's going to probably join up with these storms down to the south here. So I think that the rotating part of the storms, anything that might be remotely tornadic or anything, basically is about to come to an end here pretty soon. We've kind of been seeing that for a minute here. And you can still see, there's still some areas of different motions in the winds, but it still looks like everything is mostly, kind of pushing out, and you don't really see the wraparound and the spins like you did. There's a little bit in there, but not anything that I would classify as significant tornado. But we're watching it closely. Bowie right now in your area, you got some heavy rain, and you're kind of on the leading edge of that. So some showers and downpours, some thunder and lightning moving into your area now. The worst of the weather is still well west of you. There's some hail over here in southeastern parts of Clay County. That's going to kind of move over. It's kind of moving to the southeast now. It's going to move across northeast Jack County and then kind of over and clip the southwestern part of Montague County. So Amon Carter Reservoir, you could see some hail over that way. And on the back side of this, you've got a little hail with some of these storms developing along the front down towards Antelope. And these, you got some storms also between Jacksboro and down to the south. Look at all those storms there. That big supercell there between Brad and Strawn there, mostly a hail producer down that way here. You can follow it back up to the north, and you got a lot of heavy rain and wind up there in Oklahoma. Basically, you're getting a big line of thunderstorms developing now. Everything's transitioning to more of a line, as opposed to any supercells. So, and I can understand that when you look at a cloud like this, you can get real scared and get confused by it. But, that to me just tells me that it just looks to me this more disorganized, Cameron. That just looks like a disorganized shelf cloud to me.
Yeah, I agree. I do think this thing's becoming a bit more disorganized. Doesn't really look all that impressive. It's scary looking, sure, but it does look like it is becoming outflow dominant. And I think there's the rest of the storm kind of cutting off where the inflow would be. So I think that's also a factor for the storm as well.
Yeah, I think so. I think we're about to see, we're seeing basically just a kind of a transition now to mostly wind and some smaller hail. There's still some decent sized hail in that, but it looks to me like Bowie is going to be, outside of some heavy rain and some hail and some gusty winds maybe. It looks like you can really see how everything is just kind of bunching up. As long as these things are kind of discrete and they're by themselves, they're able to spin, and they're able to ingest warm air from out in front of them. And there's nothing that impacts it. There's no other thunderstorms around them to throw any type of different temperatures in them, cooler air into them, or disrupt their rotation. But when you start to see them kind of bunch up like this, they have a tendency to start ingesting cooler air, rain-cooled thunderstorm air, and they have a tendency to spin less and become more what we call just forward-pushing thunderstorms, the wind's pushing in one direction and not coming in from separate directions here. Sometimes you can still get spin-ups, but your threat for anything significant, tornado-wise, usually goes down significantly when you have these thunderstorm clusters here. Still a pretty significant cluster there. In Nakona, you're getting heavy rain now and some small hail. Then you jump down to the south. Bowie, mostly just showers, and you're seeing the rain pick up there in Amon Carter. The rain is now picking up down there into northern Jack County and back towards Antelope. And these storms are going to build. You got storms down there in Jack County, and these storms to the north will probably build into Jacksboro. And eventually these storms make their way towards Decatur. So Lake Bridgeport themselves, but they're probably still about, probably after 8:15, 8:30 before the storms make it down into that direction there. So I can continue to look, and since we're on the edge of the radar, it makes it real difficult to see. But you do see most of the winds here are just kind of pushing out. You can see the bowing feature there, how everything's kind of stretched out and curved around. That's more of a wind pushing towards. So Bowie, some of the winds could be pretty strong there pretty soon. 30, 40, 50 miles per hour, maybe even up to 60. And then you go jump down here into Jack County, and there still might be a little bit of some weak circulations down in this area. But a lot of what you're seeing now is probably air pushing out from these storms. It's probably becoming, you can almost see it here. It almost looks like everything's kind of stretched out, and it almost looks like you're kind of getting a lot of winds pushing like this now. Occasionally you'll still get some little burps or little hiccups where you get a little bit of an ingestion there, but most of what you're seeing there is is outward pushing air. So that is definitely some good news here for sure. But you can see how that stuff is kind of pushing out from the thunderstorm. That's out of the Frederick radar. That's out of Fort Worth. But it looks like that tornado warning should be allowed to expire. I'm not sure if they have expired it yet or not. Let me look at the Weather Service here and see. Well, they continued it. That was at 7:18. That was 10 minutes ago. But I wouldn't be surprised if they don't reissue tornado warnings and just keep it to severe thunderstorm warnings as it moves to the southeast there across Jack County. Everything's starting to push out. So Bowie, you got some strong winds blowing into your area here soon. Heavy rainfall also picking up there too. Yeah, if there is any circulation in there, it'd be very, very broad. You might have a little bit of weak circulation down there near Post Oak. Let's see, we got somebody asking me about Post Oak on Facebook here. Let me see what they were saying here. Post Oak's getting some heavy rain. Thanks a lot there, Sally, for letting me know on that. A lot of heavy rain. The wind is very high up in Jack County. I believe it. I believe that for sure with those thunderstorms in the area here. So if you're, let's see here, we've got some people talking about power outages. I don't know. I don't have an update on power outage. I'd have to go to Encore and see what the latest update is on that. Bellevue, no, there is no tornado there. You're just kind of on the northern side of some stronger wind gusts down to your south there. Those strongest wind gusts are pushing over into Monte County. They're actually about to move into Bowie here soon. So it's about to push in some strong wind gusts there in Bowie. And there's been some pretty strong wind gusts there in Post Oak. People are talking about how strong the winds are there. So those are the areas, that have got the strongest weather potential there. And no, Brianna, Bowie's not in the clear. I mean, again, you're seeing some heavy rain and strong winds pushing into your area here. Jacob, the odds of a tornado obliterating your home in Decatur is not very good. I think it's very low, honestly. So Erie calm at Lake Aim and Carter. Well, the wind should pick up there pretty soon. They should be picking up there really soon there into Aim and Carter. If you look there, you're kind of on the edge of the storm here, but there's your stronger wind gust kind of right in that area. Here's Lake Aim and Carter, and these wind gusts will be pushing out. I don't know that you're going to see some crazy high winds, but you're going to see some high winds there. So Cameron, you're out and about there too, and it looks like everything I see on your cloud, on your tower, on your cameras there. I'm trying to clean the lens cap off there, showing all the winds blowing, all the clouds are moving in one direction. You don't see those wicked cloud motions anymore. Everything looks like it's just outflow dominant.
Yeah, I agree. It looks like everything is, again, outflow dominant. I mean, not much going on now at this time. I mean, we're watching, just keeping an eye on the radar, see if anything else is trying to spin, but it doesn't really look to be that case. I mean, you got the tail out there near coming in northwestern Jacksboro, but I don't know if that's going to do anything. I just don't know if the better, I guess the question I'll ask you, and you can tell me, obviously I'm listening to you in my ears, the better question is going to be, where is the boundary sitting right now that we are tracking? Is it off the radar? Is it still somewhere in the area? Because if this stuff is off the north of the boundary, then we're kind of done with the chase in terms of tornado potential with these storms.
Cameron, I still see rotation in the thunderstorm. That's it's near Post Oak, or it's near it's kind of east of Post Oak now. There's a little bit of rotation still there, but I do believe that the front is catching up to everything now, and it's all about to go linear here. It's going linear now, but you do still have some decent rotation there just east of Post Oak, but that's really it.
Yeah, I do see what you're talking about. Actually, where we're set up would be kind of just parallel to where that is. Unfortunately, the trees are blocking our vantage point a little bit. We're actually sitting in northeastern Jack County. I believe we're on Highway 59 right now. Yeah, Highway 59 in the northeastern quadrant of Jack County right now, and that couplet would be just off to our east right now. Excuse me, our west right now. So we're going to watch that. That will come. That pass right along us. Let's see, let me check the storm motion. That'll pass actually right at us. So we're going to keep an eye on that as well. I don't know if this is going to do anything. It doesn't really look all that impressive. Still rotation, but again, you also have to keep in mind that we're kind of far away from the radar. So it could be some rotations higher up in the clouds at this time.
I'm going to go back to the radar, and there's what we're talking about there. Little rotation, little spin right there near Post Oak. But this is hitting it from Fort Worth, and Fort Worth is a good ways away. But you do got a little bit of a spin here, and you've got a little bit of an outward motion there. So you may have a bit of a. So what this may be suggesting is maybe a bit of a bow echo forming there, because you got winds blowing like this, and you got a wind pushing out. So that may be a bow echo forming there. That may be what we're seeing. But we'll see. There's still some little kinks down here. But there's a lot of storms to the south that's going to eventually cut that out, going to cut the inflow off, so you won't have as much air feeding into the storm there as you did. But so I believe Cameron is somewhere in this area near Truce, and there appears to be some decent rotation just right about to him. So Cameron, looks like you may have a little wall cloud there on the edge of your screen there. Is that what that is on the left side?
Let me take a look here. No, that's not wall cloud. I believe that's just, that looks like, I don't know, so it looks like that's kind of a bit of, I would say it's not necessarily fully forward flanking downdraft, but it's kind of the leading edge of the storm. It looks like a wall cloud, but I do not believe that is a wall cloud in the position we have in relation to the radar right now. If we do have a wall cloud, it would be coming a bit in terms of where we're sitting right now, off to our, whatchamacallit, my goodness. I'm losing my words in that kind. But anyways, I don't believe that's a wall cloud this time. We're watching it. I do believe that's just some outflow maybe, because it's moving pretty parallel with all the clouds in the area. So I still do believe this might be outflow dominant, but we'll watch. Not really seeing much in terms of anything spinning out here or much in terms of inflow either. Looks like everything is pretty outflow dominant at this time.
Okay, yeah, all right. So it's still a pretty cool looking cloud there though, for sure. So. But yeah, I still see there. I mean, if you're near Truce, Cameron, there's still some decent, motions in there. That's a pretty good little motion there. But it may be, and if you're in Bowie, you got some strong wind gusts moving into there at this time. What's going on up here? Oh, that's Vernon. I didn't know what that was. I thought that was showing some rain there. But if you're in Bowie, you got some strong wind gusts pushing in. All that is outflow. All that is wind pushing in one direction. And if we kind of take a look here, you can kind of see how that's kind of bowed out there. And you may have that same thing taking place here, but there just appears to be maybe a little bit of a coupler or some type of emotion in that area there. But now that's just severe thunderstorm warnings, probably for just some strong gusty winds in there. I mean, with the clouds itself, you don't see anything that really blocks off as a wall cloud, but they definitely are some scary looking clouds. They look like they look scary, but their bark's probably a lot worse than their bite is what I'm kind of trying to say. And you can kind of see those. You can kind of see how those clouds look. Nothing too major. Look at that, Cameron. Looks like you got some chasers in front of you.
Yeah, I got some chasers in front of me. Just another tour van, doing their thing, taking their storm chasing tour, their summer vacations. Wishing them the best. Hey, how y'all doing? We're going to drive by them and keep moving. Golly.
Dang, what was that?
That was the rumble strip, because they were kind of taking pictures in the middle of the road, so I wanted to dodge them.
So that's one of the worst things about storm chasers is a lot of times they get in the road and they can they're trying to get pictures of the storms and whatnot, and they can block up the roads. And not all of them do that, but there are some that do, and it can be very frustrating to people out there that are trying to serve the community, especially when you got those tour groups that are out there. And people do, they pay a lot of money. They pay a lot of money to go on those storm chasing trips. So, but yeah, you don't see any significant areas of rotation, just some gusty winds. Now, if I'm in Bowie right now, you got some gusty winds pushing through. Any circulations in that would be very weak. Towards Nakona, you got some gusty winds pushing through there now. In addition to that, you got heavy rainfall. Now, it doesn't look like there's much hail in that storm near Bowie. And Nakona, just some downpours. And if there is any hail, it'll be really small. But then you jump down into Jack County, and this is kind of the bottom edge of this here. And they're still probably receiving some inflow, some moist air still flowing into them. You don't see the kidney bean shape like you did. It looks to me like most of what you see now is just kind of like a bit of a kind of a linear type thing here, kind of poking out. Let's take a look at we haven't looked at any weather data here. We've been dealing with thunderstorms here tonight, so let's look at some weather data here. So this would be now. That's actually did a pretty good job of where those storms are. Here we are about an hour from now. This has them pushing out, but I think there still could be some storms down in Jack County, maybe eastern parts of Montague County, even by 8:30 there. But you can see them kind of lining out along Interstate 35, and you have storms moving into the western side of Fort Worth and down towards Weatherford, Mineral Wells. There's some downpours and some hail in those. And then you get to later in the evening, you can see how all that activity really expands from northeastern parts of Oklahoma all the way down into the Dallas-Fort Worth area, back down to along Interstate 20. Some heavy rain and gusty winds with all of that. That continues to push on out, and here we are late tonight. And by tomorrow, I think the front's through by tomorrow morning here, and at least they don't look any rain around tomorrow during the day. Then it looks like we're quiet into tomorrow evening. And then tomorrow night, here comes our next wave of thunderstorms rolling through late tomorrow evening, or excuse me, late tomorrow night or early Thursday morning through Thursday morning itself. So that's another wave of strong to perhaps some heavy rain, maybe some strong thunderstorms with that. Then we'll see another perhaps area coming through Friday and then kind of off and on the weekend. I'm ready for a bit of a weather pattern change. You know, we need the rain. We needed the rain, but you know, we're pretty good. You know, we're pretty good as far as rainfall amounts go right now. We're pretty good. So we're caught up, and you know, Skip McBride once told me, people around here know Skip. He said, you know, one thing that you don't do in this part of the country is you don't ever complain about too much rain. And I believe it because in my time here, I've seen drought, I've seen lots of drought, and there's only a couple years where it rains a lot like this, but you can get a lot of drought. So in my time, one of the worst natural disasters that I've ever experienced was that drought we had back in 2011, 12, 13, when the lake almost dried up. That's one of the worst natural disasters I've ever witnessed. I've witnessed hurricanes, tornadoes, floods, and to me, that's one of the worst ones. So, all right, so we're watching. You know, you still see these little spins down there, but I believe that most of this stuff is outflow dominant. Just kind of looking at that, and looking at the chaser feed, but you know, you still have some spin there in that, kind of headed towards Crafton. But this is going to stay south of Bowie. Bowie right now, just some downpours pushing through. You know, there's still some little areas of maybe some gusty winds down there in the northern Jack County here. So, all right. Well, I mean, I'm going to stay on with this stuff as it's moving through Montague County here, because I mean, you know, this area has seen so much bad weather this year. There's just no reason not to. So. I'm telling Cameron, chase is over. Because these storms are, you know, now just basically, you know, when you storm chase, you know, the whole purpose of storm chasing is to be able to go out and look at these storms and be able to report back to us, you know, meteorologists and the National Weather Service, to be able to tell folks, you know, what's going on with the storms here. It gives us a bird's eye view of what's going on with the storms. You know, it's invaluable. I mean, this is information that, you know, when I first got started in this business, you know, I would have loved to have had, you know, storm chaser feeds back in, you know, this has been a long time ago. But, you know, we didn't have that. All we had was our, you know, tower cams and whatnot. And then whenever I came to Wichita Falls, we were just now starting to have some of this technology where you could do some stream. We did it through, what's it called? I think we started off with something called Restream, or maybe I can't remember the name of what we started off using. But then I think we used Skype. I think that's what we used with Skype at one time, and it just wasn't the same as what you get now. And of course, the technology's gotten much better, and now you've got you know, almost flawless streams. Of course, the data isn't. You know, you do run into some data issues still from time to time, but even that's getting better. Of course, with the addition of the Starlink satellites now, you mean that's going to really help you know, eliminate a lot of that stuff there. But these storm chasers have they do a good job of giving us that information, and it's cool to see this stuff live as well. So really interested in all that. I'll go back to Cameron. Cameron, looks like you're having some fun out there chasing the skies.
Hang on. I got a microphone. Hang on. Wait. Oh, gosh. Sorry, my phone was not on me. I was outside. Yeah, I mean, I was just looking. You might have a little bit of a remnant of a wall cloud. Turn it around for you a little bit here. A little bit of a remnant of a wall cloud out here. Nothing too crazy going on with it. I've just been watching because There looks to be some inflow going into this, but it does look like everything across the region is pretty uniform at this time in terms of cloud bases and storm motion itself. Again, you have inflow out ahead of this, the shelf of clouds here. But with that being said, I do believe we might have a shelf cloud in the process of coming together. I've just been watching to see if anything does try to come together in terms of a building wall cloud or not. But I think most of the stuff is just becoming outflow dominant. The air out here is pretty cool. So that being said, I do believe having that cool air in place does tell them these storms, again, are outflow dominant because they're putting down some pretty cool air out ahead of the storm itself. So, yeah, I think the chase is over. So, again, we're just kind of peeping the skies a little bit. And like I say, maybe you got a little bit of a remnant of a wall cloud out here, but that's about it right now. Nothing crazy or nothing too concerning in northeastern Jack County right now.
That cloud you got behind you there, is that behind the outflow boundary, or is that right on? What is that there, Cameron?
I believe that one is behind the outflow boundary right now. Yeah, I think that's behind the outflow boundary because that's looking to the north right now. And I do believe that's north of the outflow boundary.
You got cool air over you right now, then, right?
Oh yeah, it's pretty cool out here. Temperatures are still warm. They're still in the upper 60s with temperatures our dew points also in the upper 60s. But compared to what we were working with earlier, it's definitely a lot cooler. You can feel the cool air coming out of the storms right now as well. So, again, you got some scary-looking clouds out here, but I don't think these are really much of a concern right now. That's kind of why I pulled over there, just kind of keep an eye on them for a couple minutes, see if they're going to try to do anything. But I don't think they will, just given the position of where we're at and the air in place right now.
All right. Well, we always have a good bird's eye view of it. That's for sure, thanks to Weatherman Cam. So, all right. So we're going to pop off of that here, and if you're in Bowie, you got heavy rain, but you do got the severe thunderstorm warnings over that way, but nothing that it just doesn't look that bad there. As far as wind, it looks like the worst of the wind is now just east of you, but there's still some pretty strong winds there. And even where you get these bowing features, there's maybe even a little bit of a couplet there. Just north of Highway 82 and kind of west-southwest of the Caps Corner area. But what happens in this situation here is you've got winds that are kind of blowing out here like this, and they're kind of causing the storm to bow back a little bit. But you do see a little eddy or a little swirl on the north side of that there, just east of Nocona. But I don't think that's anything to be too concerned with. There's another look at it. You can kind of see how those winds are pushing back. You do got some some pretty strong, this is out of Fort Worth here. You do got some pretty gusty winds now just south of Montague and just east of Bowie, kind of just east of Highway 287 and north of Sunset, some gusty winds there. Then we go down here into Jack County, and looks like everything is outflow dominant down this way, meaning everything is blowing out from the storm, and you don't have anything really pulling back into the storm here. So that's what that is, and you can tell by the cloud shapes that you see from Cameron's feed that that's the case with most of that activity. So if you if you are in these areas over here in the Montague County, just heavy rain moving through Bowie and Nocona now, and Montague itself, this will be moving into St. Joe shortly. This is not tornadic. You might see some gusty winds, maybe some small hail, but thunder and lightning. I mean, quite a bit of that there. Then you go down into northern Jack County and just north of Jacksboro, heavy rain with that, maybe some small hail and some gusty winds. And there's also this other cluster of storms south of Jacksboro and south of Graham that producing some downpours in those areas. But overall, nothing that looks too major as far as anything tornadic goes down that way, or even anything super heavy as far as winds and hail and that kind of stuff. You do go up to the north, and you do got some storms over here well east of Ardmore. These are moving into east, central, and eastern parts of Oklahoma here. Heavy rain producers over that way, flooding and some gusty winds. But these storms, you kind of look up to the north, and there's a couple of other little storms, little showers have popped up, kind of on the backside of all this activity. That's not severe, but it's over in Cotton and Stevens County, and you might see some additional activity pop up. And again, there's Cameron's feed, and you got some ominous-looking clouds there. I think he's in northern Jack County. But you got some ominous-looking clouds, and, oftentimes on the leading edge of these storms, you get stuff like, people always think that, hey, there's a wall cloud, or hey, there's a tornado. No, actually, that's not. That's going to be some, just some clouds hanging down off the storm itself there, and just a lot of some gusty winds there, kind of behind it. Let's see if we got any questions here from our viewers here on Facebook. Heavy rain in Bowie. Yes, Linda, you do got that. Eamon G. Yeah, Eamon G. Carter is safe. You're good, Wendy. So we got a place in Newport that's flooded now. I know at my house in Lakeside City we had some flooding. We had a spot, Stacy Shaw says, we had a spot that started to look like it was starting to form a tornado, and it looked like a small tail was starting to form, and it got covered by rain. We've kind of seen several of that today, or some things like that today. So somebody asked about Decatur. You're going to see some storms in Decatur, okay? I mean, it's imminent. Your storms are up there towards Bowie right now, northwest of you. These storms are going to make their way down into the Decatur area here probably in the next hour, I think. Gusty winds and heavy downpours are your main concern there. But, it should move on out, thereafter. So people want to know about Sunset. They want to know about Bowie and those areas. And that's Cameron's feed there. Some scary looking clouds there, but nothing major. But if you're in Bowie, the back edge of the rain is about to push through you. I mean, there might still be a little bit of leftover rain there, but it's about the heaviest of the activity is about to push out of Bowie. So the severe threat in Bowie is over with. The gusty winds, you still got some downpours and some lightning strikes, but the threat for anything severe is now east of Bowie. The threat up towards Montague, still some downpours there, but the worst of the weather is now east of Montague, and it's now east of Nacona. So I'm going to go ahead and say Nacona, Bowie, back to Buffalo Springs, this area. I'm going to go ahead and say the worst is over for you. But if you're out ahead of it, I'm talking about maybe from, but just east of Lake Nacona, through St. Joe, down towards Forestburg, back towards Sunset, Albert, Bridgeport. This stuff's still got to get to you. This line is organizing, and it's heading in your direction. In the Bridgeport area down in the Wise County, there's Lake Bridgeport, there's Decatur, Albert, Crafton. The storms are to your northwest, and right now what you're seeing with those storms to your northwest in that line, you're seeing the gusty winds, the winds that push out from the thunderstorms here. You don't really see the winds blowing into it. To get, the really serious storms, you got to have the winds blowing into and out of the rotating updrafts. But what you see with this is winds blowing mostly in one direction, heavy rain with that area, and there's also some hail in that too, like you're seeing some hail northwest of Jacksboro. Now this activity is sliding east-southeast. It will move across northern parts of Wise County, maybe towards Lake Bridgeport, and it will link up eventually with these storms that are lined up down here to the south that are currently down here towards like the Eastland area or north of Eastland, kind of west of Weatherford there. And it's going to link up, and these storms will be impacting these areas here, next. Because you got these storms that are going to move through Jacksboro still, some severe thunderstorm warnings up that way. But you'll see the gusty winds moving their way through this area here probably over the next hour. So Decatur storms maybe into your area maybe by 9 o'clock. Bridgeport, maybe some storms in your area 9 o'clock or there even sooner. And then later on tonight, this stuff kind of builds all over towards the Metroplex here, and with the threat for some wind and heavy rain, your main concern down there. And the reason I talk about that is we got a lot of people on social media that follow us that's not only in Texoma, but I've also got a lot of folks that follow us down there in those areas, in Wise County, in Palo Pinto County, in those areas. So I try to give at least some updates to there, just so people will kind of be in the know. And you can see the dark cloud. And Cameron, looks like you're headed back in. Is that what you're doing?
No. The camera is pointing directly behind us, so you're looking to the northern portion. You're looking at the edge of the storms that are pushing into northeastern Jack County right now. What we're doing is we're 7 minutes, 6 miles outside of Jacksboro right now, so we're going to stop. We're going to stop in Jacksboro, take a quick bathroom break, and I guess just keep an eye on that tail end, Charlie. That storm is coming towards Jacksboro. Looks to be just mostly a hailstorm at this time, but we'll watch it, and after that, we'll watch that one pass by, and after that, we're going to head back to Wichita Falls.
All right, that sounds like a good plan. Good plan there. Might as well chase it on back. So, there's what he's looking at. If you're in Jacksboro, you've got some storms to your southeast, but the stronger thunderstorm is kind of just north of you. It's kind of sliding east-southeast, and there's some pretty good hail signatures there right along 281. And this should be moving into Jacksboro here pretty soon, probably by 7, probably by 8:30, by 8:15, 8:30. Main concern, you'll see gusty winds, and then you'll see some maybe some hail threats on the back side of that maybe. And you do still see, you can see the winds are kind of elongated out through there. You might see some spin, but it looks like, there's going to be your, what we call outflow boundary, your rain-cooled air right in that area. And you may have a little spin on the back side of that, but nothing to be concerned about there. Now you're seeing some little push outs of some winds there west of 281. But most of that is outflow driven there into Jack County. Heavy rain just north of Jacksboro, and again over Amon Carter, heavy downpours. But maybe still some gusty winds there in the Amon Carter area, but nothing too bad. It looks like the worst of the weather is probably down east and south of Amon Carter. But the worst of the weather is certainly east of Bowie. You got some gusty winds there moving south of Montague, headed right at St. Joe and Forestburg. And you still probably see a little weak broad rotation up north of St. Joe, and that'll move over into northwestern parts of, I forget the name of the county there, just west of there. Maybe there could be a little brief rotation in there moving in that direction here. And again, mostly just some gusty winds there across Montague County headed towards Forestburg. If you're in the Sunset area, some downpours and maybe some small hail. And you go over to the west, over into Jack County. Now, it looks like the worst of the weather is now over with. Buffalo Springs, you're in the severe clear. Post Oak, you're on the northern side of this now. Antelope, you're on the northern side, and I think the severe weather is over with in your area too. But Jacksboro, there's still some gusty winds and some hail just north of you that could be building in here pretty soon. Nothing tornadic, though. Nothing to be too concerned with. You've also got some storms south of you down there towards Perrin. Those are just some downpours, and they're kind of headed over towards the Runway Bay area and Bridgeport. But again, these storms are sliding off to the southeast here. And you can almost see everything's kind of linked. It's kind of broken, but it's kind of linked up. You can see these long. Look at how far-reaching this is here. You just got all this moisture in place, but there you got almost kind of a broken area line of thunderstorms all the way down there from up here in Illinois, all the way through Missouri and eastern Oklahoma and down into north central Texas now. That's a pretty large area of storms here. But within this line of thunderstorms, gusty winds are their main concern now. A little bit of hail, and the biggest hail signatures I see are these storms back here. That's kind of northwest of Jacksboro, and we can take a look here. I'd like to do this feature. I don't do it very often. I don't have time to do it very often. We'll do this though. We're going to turn it, tilt it, and take a look at it here and see some stuff here. Let me see if I can figure out how to turn this thing. But if you look, you're seeing some of the hail signatures that extend up, where you see that pink color there. That extends up to about 20,000 feet in the atmosphere. That shows you this shows you where the updraft is in the thunderstorm, and this kind of shows you. There's your updraft right in there, and you can see where that hail core is. And the higher up this goes, the bigger the hail threat is. This goes up to about 20,000 feet. It's pretty cold up there. Think up there about 20,000 feet, well below freezing. So it's where your ice kind of forms, and you got your updraft where and with hail anyway, you got it to where it goes up and it falls several times until it finally falls out of the cloud. It kind of looks like that. But that's what you're seeing with that. Also, something else kind of cool I can do here with this too. Let me see if I can figure out how to do it. But there is kind of a three-dimensional look at the storm. That gray would be kind of your highest cloud tops, and that's kind of showing some of those cloud tops going up to about 60,000 feet. That's where your radar returns is. That's a pretty big thunderstorm. The very tip top, up there, just almost up to the tropopause. You can take off some of this stuff, and I know a lot of this stuff is confusing, but it's pretty neat to look at some of this stuff here. You can take off some of these colors, and you can kind of see up how high up in the atmosphere this activity goes. And you can see these these higher tops go up there a little bit higher. You can also put the lightning on. I like that. That's pretty cool. Turn up the lightning density. And we can also show, let's show this here. I'm going to show some of the velocities. I'm sorry, I'm just sitting here looking at some stuff there. But you can see there, we can put the velocities on. You can look at that. Pretty cool stuff to look at. Especially when you have rotation, you can kind of see it. I know I'm not talking a lot here. I'm just playing around right now is all I'm doing really. All right, I'm sorry, I'm just playing around there. Just playing around. So if we kind of take a look here at this stuff. Let me get back to my. It looks like you do have a little bit of a supercell on the southern end, but I think those storms down to the south are going to choke it off. This is what you call a tail end Charlie. When you got a line of thunderstorms, the one of the very, very tail ends called a tail end Charlie. And it's the one that, if you're going to get anything significant, it usually occurs with it. But again, you got these storms down to the south, I think, that are going to pretty much choke it off and keep it from getting too out of hand. You do got some decent gusty winds there coming into Crafton now. You got a couple areas of gusty winds there in Montague County. You can really see where the outflow boundary is now. And outflow boundary is just rain-cooled air, but it's kind of right in there. That's kind of where it's at, sitting kind of in there. So you've got some gusty winds blowing in like this. Some gusty winds coming into St. Joe now. Pretty strong winds there. You got some strong winds up north of St. Joe too. A long way from the radar site, but you do got some little weak rotation areas in there north of St. Joe. That's about to move on out of the area though. That's well north. That's well east of Lake Nakona and north of St. Joe. In St. Joe itself, right now, you got some heavy rain pushing through, and those gusty winds. You got gusty winds and heavy rains pushing through Forestburg, and you can see everything again stretched out. It's all linear, nothing major there. We can go down to the south, and this is in Jack County. This is into Jacksboro. And again, you can see everything is pushing. Look at how you have that long line that's kind of just pushing south. It's kind of pushing out. So, that kind of tells me that everything is moving in one direction. Now, there is a little rotation showing up now south of Jack County, south of Jack County there, just south of the Jack County line there, just north of Mineral Wells, headed right at 281. A little bit of a spin showing up there. I don't know if the Weather Service would pull the trigger on a warning there or not, but there is a little spin down there south of Perrin. And this is going to head in this little area spin. Could be some strong gusty winds, but sometimes you can get a little spin up on the northern side of that. Just east of Grayford and headed right at 281 south of Perrin and headed towards Poolville and Adele and kind of into those areas. And kind of goes south of Lake Bridgeport and south of Decatur. But this could eventually, if it continues, you could wind up, and it probably will line out. That's what it kind of mostly looks like. But eventually, it's going to make its way over into the western sides of Fort Worth here, kind of over here towards some of these areas like Weatherford here, Willow Park, Dennis, Center Mill, Crescent, Aledo, those areas over that way, and Azle. Those areas are going to all be, again, mostly just some heavy, strong gusty winds and just some heavy downpours. There are some little supercell thunderstorms just northeast of Eastland and west of Hannibal. And again, you've got the wind producers now. So Bowie, I'm going to go ahead and take you out. You're now in the severe clear in Bowie. Nakona, you're in the severe clear. So that means most everybody in our viewing area is in the severe clear. Exception would be Jacksboro. And, again, there are some warnings out now, severe thunderstorm warnings, that is, for the Alvord area. The severe thunderstorm warning goes down to just about Decatur and into Bridgeport. And this activity is quickly closing in on Bridgeport here. I expect the downpours and the gusty winds to pick up there between now and about 8:15, 8:30 in Bridgeport. If you look at the winds, you do got some pretty strong winds there, just about to come into the northern side of Lake Bridgeport. And there could be some broad, weak rotation in there too, but it doesn't look like much here. And those gusty winds will be pushing over towards Decatur and Alvord here pretty soon. In Sunset, you got some decent winds there moving through, especially to the south of Sunset. Sunset itself, mostly just some pretty good downpours. Forestburg, just some downpours. Dangerous lightning strikes and a little bit of hail is possible in those areas. You can see the winds all, especially where you see those green areas. It doesn't like anything majorly strong. And you still got this little spin just north of St. Joe, but even that's weakening pretty fast. Winds are picking up a bit stronger now across northwestern Wise County. So if you're in northwestern Wise County, this is north of Bridgeport here. You got some stronger wind gusts starting to show up, headed right at Chico and Alvord. So Chico and Alvord, some strong wind gusts headed towards you. Be right on 287 here soon. And some of those winds could gust up to 40, maybe 50, 60 miles per hour there and could create some power outages. So if you're in Alvord, Chico, some pretty strong wind gusts are in your area and headed right at you. So Sunset, kind of in this area here, kind of in a bit of a triangle. And where I'm talking about is this green area right there, showing some strong winds blowing out. So basically anywhere in here, well, we maybe include Sunset, Forestburg, those areas there. Some pretty strong wind gusts headed down that way. The rest of the area there, Jacksboro, some gusty winds coming there, but nothing major. Most of the stuff is just now just heavy rain producers. Now, we do still have some hail, and the hail's about to come into Jacksboro now. It looks to me like the hail is mostly small, though. It's not as large as it was, and it looks like the hail sizes are coming down, so maybe some pea-size hail with it along 281 about to drift into Jacksboro shortly here. Some pea-size hail and heavy down. It probably won't last too long. It's going to kind of blow on through pretty fast. And I believe that Cameron and them are in Jacksboro now at a gas station, looks like, and you can see that shelf cloud, the dark cloud here with the rain-cooled air, that is moving into Jacksboro now, and the winds within this cloud here all blow down out of it. So that's nothing to be concerned with. It looks scary, but it really isn't that bad. Maybe some gusty winds, but you're going to see brief downpours and a little small hail there. But I don't think anything too major there, to be honest about it. But again, over there in Wise County, that's where it's picking up now. Forestburg, some heavy rain into your area. St. Joe, your area, heavy rain. But again, Nakona, Bowie, Monte, you're in the severe clear. Clay County, severe clear. And anything west of this line, really severe clear. Graham, you're going to be I think you're in severe clear too, even though you do got some storms just east of you. It still could try to back build in there a little bit. But I don't really see a lot developing, at least from what I'm seeing right now, into the Graham area. But Jacksboro, again, some downpours and some hail moving into your area now, and maybe some gusty winds, but nothing too major. Strongest wind gust I see is right along and just south of the Wise and Monte County line. That's pretty strong wind gusts pushing down across the southern parts of Wise County. So about Sunset, Alvord area, down towards Chico, some pretty strong winds there, just moving on the north side of Lake Bridgeport, just staying north of Bridgeport, and that's kind of moving due east. So Alvord area, you could see some wind gusts pick up to maybe 50, 60 miles per hour there shortly as it approaches 287 pretty quickly. Those winds will probably pass on the north side or just north of Decatur, and then kind of move over to the southern part, maybe the extreme southern part of Montague and Wise County, kind of headed towards the south of Forestburg here. But again, there's your strongest wind gusts blowing in those areas there. There's like some new warnings, and look at that wind really, really punching out down along 281 near Salesville. Some really strong wind gusts showing up there. I can kind of stop this, and of course I don't think we have really anybody watching this down in this area. This technically is not my viewing area, but I'm still kind of tracking it. But you do see some strong winds kind of gusting out in that area there. Maybe some weak rotation, Look at that shelf cloud. Cameron, that's pretty wicked shelf cloud coming into Jacksboro, right?
Yep, that would be correct. We are pulling out of Jacksboro, stop, like I said, get a little bathroom break in, and now we're heading out of the western portions of Jacksboro, going down Highway 380. Gonna kind of scrape along the tail end Charlie of the storm, see how it looks. But I mean, just given what we're seeing right now, it looks like there's definitely an outflow dominant storm, which again just means some gusty winds, maybe some hail and some wind. And we have seen that hail signature come down some, but just trying to get to a spot, get a bird's eye view on this thing, watch it come across, and then we'll wrap it up from there. And actually getting a pretty good shot of it here, but again, looks to be nothing overly impressive when it comes to general storm structure, just mainly a shelf cloud out there at this time. But we'll get a better shot when we don't have trees in the way and such.
All right, and I'm sure Cameron will be making his way on back here pretty soon. But there's a tornado warning down there. A couple of these storms spinning. A little tornado warning up there between Metcalf Gap and Strawn. And this is, if you look there, there's Interstate 20. And there's the Gordon area. There's Patillo. Where is Mineral Wells and all of this here? There's back to the west. There would be Weatherford's up here. There's Mineral Wells. So Mineral Wells, some downpours moving through, but nothing tornado. But there's your tornado warning, and that's going to pass, well south of Mineral Wells. Probably going to pass well south of Weatherford too, and that'll kind of make its way, maybe down towards Interstate 20. So if there are any warnings, down this area, Santo, Gordon, may eventually cross Interstate 20. Patillo and maybe 281. But again, that's well south of Wise and well south of Wichita County. But some tornado, there may even be some warnings back here eventually issue for these storms here. These are some supercells back in this. That's a pretty good supercell there. But you got a little bit of a storm interaction, and I think that's what's causing those storms to spin a little bit. It's got a little interaction there. But those are moving kind of east-southeast there. If they were to hold together, which I think eventually this stuff's going to line out, it could wind up towards Stephenville and Granbury. I think that anyway, these tornado warnings would probably pass well to the southwest of the Azle and Aledo areas, but you get back up here along 281, and you do got some of these strong thunderstorms moving into Mineral Wells now. Heavy downpours, some little hail there, a little gusty wind, nothing major. Over Possum Kingdom, you got a little back edge thunderstorm area pushing through there, in Breckenridge, well south of Graham and south of Ellisville. And then we get into Jacksboro, and as you've seen from Cameron's feed, you just got this, this real disorganized shelf-looking cloud pushing on through. But there's a little hail, that may move over the city here pretty soon here. Don't look like a lot, but maybe some hail here. Probably some light, maybe pea-size hail. And the winds don't even look that strong, but you still got this strong area winds gusting out. Look at how it bows out there, just south of the Montague County line, just south of Sunset. And that's that strong wind gust there. And again, 40, 50 mile per hour wind gust, maybe 60. Headed right at 287 into Albert, just south of Sunset. This is going to pass just north of Bridgeport. It may brush northern Decatur, but probably stays just north of Decatur there. But yeah, pretty good little wind gust moving through there. And it looks like the worst of the weather might be through St. Joe. Still some downpours there, but the strong gusty winds have now shifted off to the east of you. Forestburg, heavy rain and some lightning strikes there now. Heavy downpours, some gusty winds there. Heavy rain in the Sunset now. Maybe some small hail. And if we look at the winds there, again, you got strong winds very close by. Could be some pretty good winds moving into Sunset here pretty soon. But the strongest probably going to just barely miss. I mean, it's a close call. Sunset could get some pretty good wind gusts there. Albert going to see some pretty good wind gusts. Some gusty winds moving through Forestburg now. But nothing tornadic, just some good wind gusts. And once again, the winds aren't even that strong in Jacksboro, but there could be some hail, sporadic hail events kind of mushing on through, and that's kind of where Cameron is there this evening here. Beautiful sunset shot there from Cameron. And, Cameron, I guess the hail threat's just barely north of you a little bit, right?
Yeah, we're just watching this thing. It would be just off to our north. We're probably going to get the very tail of this thing right now. We're sitting just a few miles southwest of Jacksboro on Highway 380 right now, just watching it. I got a pretty little shot, but, in terms of what's going on, it's, a whole lot of nothing. You got some ragged clouds out here. Looks like it's trying to become a shelf cloud. Hasn't fully prevailed as a shelf cloud right now, but definitely outflow dominant this time. So, again, gusty winds are coming into Jacksboro at this time. Maybe some hail mixing in as well, but, it doesn't look all that bad right now. So, still, I think there is Yeah, there is a severe warning on this, but doesn't look to be all that bad right now. Just scary looking clouds, nothing to be scared of though.
All right. Well, again, this is not a whole lot. I mean, it is a pretty decent storm. I mean, it's not bad looking at all. Heavy downpours and hail is your main threat with that, though. But, St. Joe and southeastern parts of Montague County, Forestburg, St. Joe, or excuse me, Sunset, Alvord, those are the areas that are experiencing heavy rain. But, again, this is not anything tornadic, at least in these parts of the storm here. These are going to be primarily gusty winds, downpours, small hail. So if you're down in Wise County, that's basically what you kind of can expect there. Some gusty winds are heading into Alvord now. Bridgeport, you're not even seeing a lot of really heavy rain there, but you still got the line itself that's going to come through there. Probably within the by 8:30, I think. Could be some small hail, but it doesn't look like anything major. You jump down there to the south, and there's some pretty good storms moving through Mineral Wells. This is headed at Weatherford. Nothing tornadic there, but there are some downpours. But you do have a couple of warnings out over here, just kind of to the northwest of Hackabay and kind of to the southwest of Weatherford. And there are some areas of the road. It just seems like when there are these significant storms, especially as of late, this is where it's been. Montague, Jack, and then kind of over into these areas, kind of south, closer to Interstate 20. It looks like that rotation, though, north of Strawn has weakened considerably. I wouldn't be surprised if the Weather Service let that warning expire. So, but again, pretty gusty winds along 281, moving just north of Mineral Wells. Maybe some strong winds into Mineral Wells, but pretty strong winds up north there along 281. Just south of the Jack County line. It's a pretty strong wind there showing up just over the Salesville area, moving into Adele and Poolville. And then you jump back up here into Wise County again. Some pretty decent winds moving into Alvord, but actually the winds have actually come down a little bit. You got some gusty winds up there in Forestburg, coming in on the back. So heavy rain and some hail in Forestburg now. And you do got the line pushing through, and if you do, you might get some gusty winds there, but that's pushing through, and it's going to be moving through quickly. Now that we get a line, a lot of this activity is going to move through pretty fast. The tail end Charlie storm that Cameron's been on is moving through Jacksboro now with some hail threats. But, you don't even see a lot of wind in that. We got Cameron's feet up there, and it's just quiet as it can be. And you can kind of see where you see this little lighter color on the right side. That's where the rain shaft is, and there, again, could be some small hail there. I bet Cameron lets it kind of come. I bet he core punches. I bet he lets a core come right over him. But that thing's about to be in Jacksboro shortly. So if you're scared, I know Jacksboro's had a lot of bad weather lately. But if you're worried about tornadoes, don't. There's no tornado. There's no threat for tornadoes in Jacksboro. None. You're good. You don't have to worry about getting in your safe spot. Just if you're watching us on Facebook or on the app or on the web, just continue to chill and do what you're doing right now. There's nothing else you need to do. Or if you're watching some TV, whatever, don't worry about it. I'm not worried. I've always been one to say when I worry about it, you should be too. I really wasn't overly worried about anything today outside of the wind and heavy rain threats. I will say again, a little break in the activity tomorrow, but early Thursday, late tomorrow. I'm going to say more like Thursday morning early. We'll see another round of these thunderstorm complexes moving through. And then we'll see probably some more activity have to probably kind of move on through as we head into Friday as well, and probably off and on through the weekend. Just really active weather pattern. And a lot of this stuff I consider low-end severe weather stuff, but the upper-level pattern is kind of favorable for still some of these severe thunderstorm complexes, and especially if you can get these outflow boundaries or whatnot, some supercells in the afternoons maybe. But most of it, what you see at this time of year, is nighttime, early morning stuff, and we'll probably see some more of that. I don't know about you, but I'm ready for this humidity to let up, and unfortunately, when you get rain like this, your humidity levels, they're not going to let up, and it's going to be very humid, I think, until we get into the latter part of July, maybe even August this year. And I don't even know that it's going to be just a humid summer. But the flip side of that, when you do have a lot of humidity, the temperatures themselves don't get as hot. Personally, I would rather go with 105 with a low dew point in the 50s than I had a temperature of 95 and a dew point in the 70s. That's an awful feeling. That's what I grew up with in Mississippi. So heavy rainfall, nothing major though with any of these storms. St. Joe, the back edge of the storm's about to push through. The heavy rain about to end in St. Joe. Heavy rain, middle of Forestburg now. Heavy rain, thunder, lightning, maybe some pea-sized hail there. Some heavy downpours moving through Sunset, but the worst of the weather might be just east of there. Bowie, you're now in the severe clear, by the way. The worst of the weather, the strongest wind gusts are now well east of Sunset, and they're kind of over towards Forestburg. There's still some gusty winds in the Forestburg area, but that'll be through there pretty quick. It won't last too much longer. This is not tornadic, but there are some strong thunderstorm wind gusts there moving through Forestburg at this time. Nothing tornadic, nothing for you to be in your safe spot with. But remember, anytime we get these storms this time of the year, we got outdoor activity, we got kids playing sports, summertime sports right now. We got, I was on the golf course today earlier up there in Duncan. What a beautiful course that is up there at the, up there near Duncan, the Territory. God, my mind, that's a beautiful course. But I was up there earlier today, and people are outside playing golf, they're playing tennis, they're outdoor activities this time of the year. But if you see the clouds starting to go vertical, you see these big buildup of these big cumulus clouds in the afternoon, then the skies start to turn dark, and you start hearing thunder. Go inside. You want to make sure that if you're close. The rule of thunder, I can't talk. The rule of thumb is if you're close enough to hear the thunder, you're close enough to be struck by a lightning strike. Oftentimes, what happens is these thunderstorms have ambles. And I've seen it to where the thunderstorms will be a long way away, and you'll be having lightning strikes on top of you. But they can crawl across these ambles, and then they can actually come down out of the ambles. And there's also something that's called a bolt out of the blue, where a thunderstorm can be off in the distance, or you could be hearing the thunder, and it'll jump out of the top of the cloud and it can hit you. But that would be a very, very rare instance. But I believe that lightning is the number 2 weather-related weather killer. I think in terms of severe weather, you would deal with probably flooding as number 1, severe lightning is number 2. But it kills more people than tornadoes and hurricanes do. Of course, heat can also claim a lot of lives, but you don't really throw heat into the severe weather category. It's kind of in a category all by itself. So. And it looks like Cameron and them are, maybe about to. Are y'all about to core punch this, Cameron?
Yeah, that's gonna be the only way to get back to Wichita Falls. So yeah, we're just gonna, drive through the quote unquote core. Not all that intimidating, but we're gonna drive through it and head on back. So that's the latest. I mean, we're probably still chasing. Just gonna, like I said, we're in the core now. We're gonna punch through it, and then we'll be back in Wichita Falls in about an hour. So I didn't think we'd end up in Jack County, but here we are.
All right, be safe coming on back. So. But this is about to blow on through Jacksboro here soon. If you're down into Wise County, Decatur, there's been some pretty heavy rain over Lake Bridgeport. But nothing severe there. But you do jump down. There's some pretty strong storms down towards Adele and, kind of down to the south there. Mineral Wells, some downpours moving through there, some gusty winds, and, some warnings out down here. We did have some tornado, some spins, but you don't even see a lot of rotation with any of that anymore. A lot of that's kind of weakened. That should be allowed to expire. Weak rotation over towards Ranger, crossing Interstate 20 now, but nothing major there. It looks like Cameron is in the rain now. Look at that heavy rain. He's pushing through. So Cameron's actually moving through just northwest of Jacksboro, just kind of in the Jacksboro area there. You can see Jacksboro there. And that's what you're seeing in Jacksboro, just some blinding rains and maybe a little hail. It doesn't look like the weather's too bad down that way at this time here. You can, matter of fact, you can see the strongest winds are down here, well south of the Montague County line, headed towards Poolville, some strong wind gusts. And that eventually may make its way towards parts of Wise County or kind of on the north side of Fort Worth, or kind of up towards Saginaw, maybe the northwest side of Fort Worth there. Even the winds up to the north aren't nearly as strong. So, all right, folks, my voice is about gone. So now the storms are kind of winding down. They're not too strong, just some downpours and some gusty winds. I'm going to jump off. I'm going to give my voice a break, but we'll have more updates throughout the week as we get these thunderstorm complexes moving on through. And